Maybe it's controversial. I would be fascinated to hear you guys' opinion. I'm at a point where I'm comparing myself to these other guys in the industry. They're making stupid amounts of freaking money. I'm wondering, is it like the literal chemical makeup of being a female that makes you, we don't have like this risk it all? Like, what drives a man to go like as hard as these guys are going? Like, I feel like it's at all costs. Whereas, do I not have that mindset? Am I not like going at trading or at this business like, why don't I have a Bugatti? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing wrong?
I hate the male versus female argument so much. Does the market look at me and be like, oh, she's a female, so I'm not going to touch her stop loss? No. So it's like, if you work hard, you're just going to make it. It doesn't matter. A few weeks ago, someone DM'd me and was like, girls can't trade. I was like, all right, thank you. This is amazing.
I get people that DM me and they're like, oh, I'm 50. Can I still do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The only limits that you have are the one you place on yourself.
I can tell you something. Look, I'm going to look right in this camera and tell you guys. And I'm going to upset a lot of fundamental traders.
Uh-oh.
The number one podcast in the trading space, the fastest growing, and that's thanks to every single one of you. Before we get into this incredible episode, guys, let me tell you about how you can get a free trading plan to completely elevate your trading. There's a link in the description below. We're doing a free email list as part of Words of Rizdom now. We're getting as much value to you as possible, which starts with when you sign up a free trading plan. Next to that link, you'll see a free Telegram where I am giving mindset hacks. I'm giving my forecasts for the week in terms of what I'm looking at in the markets. I'm giving updates on the podcast and so much more. So make sure you join that too. We're almost at 13,000 members at this point. Now with Alpha Capital, I'm also going to be giving away a free laptop, cash, iPads every single month, just for being subscribed and having your notifications turned on the podcast. So make sure you do that right now and enjoy this episode. Welcome everyone back to the Words of Rizdom podcast. We are back once again. We're back in Miami at the Move Studio, our home when we're here. It's absolutely incredible, especially for our amazing roundtables. And this one's a very special episode. It's an all-female panel. Only the best of the best is here. And let's start with our intros. We have Jess Ramos.
Hi.
We have Tori Trades. We have Sharline. And we have Nehal. Thank you all for being here. Jess has kind of set this off, so I'm going to start with you.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm going to start with you. But you mentioned just a minute ago, like Tori's trading futures, Forex, yourself, all free.
Yes.
Now, why have you chosen to diversify? And then we'll go through each person in terms of like why Forex, why futures, and then we'll just take it from there.
I would have to say I've been doing this for about 7 years. So Forex was like the first thing that was introduced to me. And then after a couple of years of doing that and having success, I was introduced to stock options by a student. And at that point, for me, it was ridiculously more easier in terms of charting, holding positions, less volatility, and payout because of the compounding. So it just made sense to participate in stock options. Futures, I've only dabbled in it. I've only dabbled in it for the past 2 years, and that's due to teaching. So because of everything that's been going on and people having to convert from Forex to futures, I had no other choice if I'm teaching people how to trade to learn, adapt, and be able to show, okay, this is actually the same thing we've been doing with Forex. Like, it's the same thing, but there's different variables that we have to consider. That's how I got into all of them. Primarily, stock options that's my baby.
Yeah, that's the one you prefer.
It's the easy money. So for me, stock options is easy money. I would say out of the three, stock options and futures are the best. Yeah.
All right, I'm doing futures, and I started with stocks. And that was like a great place to get like your foundation, you know, like the stock market. Everybody knows about the stock market. Everybody knows about Apple and Google and Amazon. So that was like a really good place to start. And then my uncle had made the transition to futures, and I followed suit. And he showed me the success that he could have with futures, and I was like, whatever you say, sure, let's go. We're doing futures now, let's do it. And I absolutely have been able to reap the benefits of making that transition to futures. The trading hours, incredible. The leverage that you can have with futures, incredible. The regulations on the brokers that you have to use to be able to trade futures, it's just been an amazing experience.
Absolutely. So I'm going to piggyback off Jess. I was just exposed to Forex first.
Oh,
That's the only reason why.
Okay.
If I would have went over to, if I saw options first, I probably would have did that. if I saw futures first. I probably would have did that. So I just fell into it. And it came across my desk on 2 separate occasions in 2 different years, literally back to back, 2017 and then again in 2018. So it just kind of fell into my lap, and I said, let me challenge myself, because I didn't like my job at the time. So I'm like, I'm still young. I got time on my hands. I had a little bit of disposable income. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I never looked back ever since.
Nice.
Same thing. So I started with Forex, and when I first started, I only traded GJ. I feel like that was like a hot pair at that time.
I still like that.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
and oh my god, it kicked my butt. But
I'll say that's not an easy one for a beginner.
it's not. It was so hard, and then like Brexit came along, and it was just a disaster. And then I was like, okay, I'm not making any money with that. Let me just move on, see what else I can learn. I learned US 30 and primarily focused on US 30 for like 3 years. And then I got really good with US 30, so I was like, okay, let me just add something to it. I added gold, and those are like my 2 things right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so glad I made the transition. I would have still been losing on GJ. Yeah.
No, GJ prepared you. For
Yeah,
US
for
30.
sure.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
It's like kindergarten GJ.
Yes.
And then gold and US 30 are like grad and like pre-grad or whatever they call it, or
Yeah.
advanced or whatever. So yeah, GJ is probably everybody's nemesis at this.
Totally.
I like GJ.
Dude, I know. I'll be honest. I had a lot of success.
Yeah,
I did
me
GJ
too.
in October last year. That was like I did like a little challenge for myself. I was like, let's do Forex. Everybody wants to see it.
I remember.
So
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah.
I had an excellent month.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
GJ.
it though. Like maybe it was just October for GJ. It was great last year, but I did good. I did good.
Or you're just that good.
Or that.
Because I was
Yeah.
But you're doing 30 in gold, so those are not easy as well. And
Yeah.
that says a lot.
So I started trading gold after I got really comfortable with US 30. Like I was watching US 30. So I'll take you guys a little back. I was still in college. I was working like 2 jobs on campus and off campus. And I only had like free time like between, finishing classes and then getting home. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it literally every single day. And when you pull up like the 5-minute chart or like the 15-minute chart, and you're watching how the candle moves, like you're watching, okay, do we break the high first? Do we break the low first? So I got really good with it, and I understand the levels and everything. So that's when I was like, okay, I don't want to get complacent, so I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to like not move on, but like add something to to my bucket. Yeah.
And I think that's the versatility of trading. You don't have to stay in one thing. You could literally like try different things and still be successful. And it's the same avenue, all under the same umbrella. So the possibilities are almost endless. Which
Agreed.
is why it's such like, I think everybody should be trading. Everybody should be trading, because there's nothing you can't do with trading.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I agree 100%.
I want to quickly ask, because you mentioned it actually, both of you, in terms of like job-wise before getting to the stage you're at now. So what sort of jobs was it that you were actually doing?
So I was 20 years old. I worked at Best Buy, and I was an economics tutor / English tutor on campus.
Well,
cool.
So
Nice.
yeah, that's what I did.
you had your hands full.
yeah.
Sharline, yours is very interesting, I think, right?
Yeah, so I was, before I was a cop. Before that, though, I was a corrections officer.
What?
And not for long, though, like less than a year. And then I got hired as a cop. So the thing is, I kind of thank my job for where I am now, because as a police officer, when you're in the academy, when you're starting to learn, they teach you a lot of discipline. Everything is about discipline. Everything is about studies. So it was very easy for me to transition that into
Nice.
trading, because it was all the same stuff. I had to study. I had to make sure I was up at 5 a.m. I had to make sure I was staying on top of my physical, everything. So it wasn't as hard for me to be dedicated to my studies with the charts, simply because I got that from my job.
That's cool.
So I was kind of lucky for that. Yeah. So when people say stuff like, "Oh, I hated my job, this and that," it's the fact that you hated your job that got you where you are now. Because if you didn't hate your job, you would have still been there.
Preach. I know. I'm like,
let's go.
Yeah, it's that complacency. It's like, okay, if you're not forced out of your comfort zone, you're gonna stay stagnant. And I was like, okay, we were doing all GJ. We stayed there. We were like, oh, I think I could do gold. I think I could do US 30. I think I could do options or futures. Oh, let me try to elevate myself a little bit more and see how far I can push my skills. And now you're like, oh, GJ was just a good month. No, I just got better. I'm just that good of a trader.
True.
I like your
I got
mentality.
this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it taught me a lot of self-confidence too. Because I was in a bad place when I was a cop, and it made me happier to see that, oh, I could learn this skill that not a lot of people are good at, and be good at it, really good at it. okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Nice.
So yeah, it's definitely a blessing. I think everybody should be trading. I'll say that 100 times this whole podcast. Everybody should be trading. Everybody should be trading.
That'll be our tagline. That's it.
What jobs did I have? I think when I got into trading, the very first time, I was at a point where I was doing maybe I think membership services at the YMCA. So I did a lot of welcome to the Y. Hey guys, welcome. Let me scan you in. Like, and my cheeks would hurt from smiling all day. It was a day.
It prepared you for the camera, though.
It sure did. And then I did stuff like Einstein Bagels and like some fast food places, coffee shops, restaurants. But it was when I made the transition to working for myself that made the transition to being a full-time trader so much easier. When you start working for yourself, you're already in that mindset of, I don't have a boss. And the discipline comes into play. You are your own boss. You got to be a good employee. You got to, show up for yourself. So I started to work for myself. I did, website development, marketing. I tried to help people build their brands, their businesses. So I started working for myself, and that was already, okay, I'm at home, I'm making my own hours. So the transition to trading was just seamless. Very easy to make that transition.
Nice. Well, I was a property manager for 13 years. I did $1 million acquisition deals, basically properties like this. I would be in charge of them and find people to invest and make sure they get their 2% back. So I did that for a while, and I made great money. So my transition to trading was more of a maternal thing. My son was diagnosed with autism, my oldest son, and it was interfering with my career. So like I said, trading just kind of happened. It wasn't like something I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a trader. But someone introduced it to me by the name of Jeff. I have to shout Jeff out because if it wasn't for him, I would not be where I'm at right now. And I started learning, and I realized, oh my gosh, like this is awesome. Like this is great. Like why didn't I learn this, 10 years ago? And I've been trading since.
I think it's great not great that you have a child with autism, but I have a little brother who's on the spectrum as well. And I figure that, he's probably never going to get married, never going to have kids. We're probably going to have to take care of him for the rest of his life. So that is like an extra motivator for me, because if you just have a regular 9-to-5, it's kind of difficult to secure your family's future.
Yeah.
So it's like, I could use this as a vehicle to make sure that if anything happens to me or my family, my brother is going to still be okay because I put away this nest egg for him.
Yeah.
So I think all of us need to have like something in our lives that's gonna drive us to keep going every day.
For sure.
If you don't have that to like push you, you're gonna get complacent. You're gonna take it for granted even sometimes. So I think I didn't know that he had a.
Yeah, he actually trades now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was telling her, I started him at 8 years old. I started with exercises. I would print charts, and we would compare it to like things that he's familiar with. Like he's obsessed with Boston Dynamics and robots. Like he wants to make prosthetics for people. So we would identify higher lows and higher highs with using the sand fleet terminology. So now like he can look at the markets. He knows options, not Forex. I did not do Forex.
You saved him from.
But stock options was a more easier route because it's just when it goes up, it goes up. When it goes down, it goes down. It's not like you don't get a lot of consolidation So it was easy for me to teach him that, and he knows what he's doing. Who knows?
That's
he may be teaching a couple of years from now.
8 years old. You know where we'd be if 8 years?
He'll be 11. He will be 11 this week.
Me at 8.
So,
You're gonna be saying his birthday.
Yeah, his birthday
trip.
is. He'll be 11 this week. So
Nice.
I'm really proud of him. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like you have to have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders to like not just be happy with what the ordinary people are happy with, which is nothing's wrong with that. But then like when you have a lot of things on your shoulders, like you're financially responsible or you have like family members to take care of, it pushes you to like, okay, I need to level up, not just for myself, but like for others. Maybe you're gonna see in the beginning as a burden, but then when you look back at it, you're gonna thank yourself and you're gonna thank the circumstances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying that, one thing I've seen, not only I did it myself, to be fair, but I see a lot of traders go through it, is they have the same thought of that I want to provide and have that responsibility, but equally it ends up setting them back because when they're trading, they're visualizing all the things they're going to be able to do. I can give money to my mum here, I can buy this for that person. and they're essentially spending this P&L that hasn't become real yet. And it kind of holds them back, because then it leads them into a sort of a gambling realm sometimes, because they're just constantly assigning this money to this goal. You know, is that something you've experienced or had to overcome at all?
With me, no, because I don't think I really understood what I was getting myself into. So like, I've always had money. Well, not always. I mean, my childhood's different, but as an adult, I've always made money. So that wasn't an issue. It was more of just, how do I make this work? That was more of like what I was trying to figure out with being a mom of 2. And I had 2 toddlers, you know, so it was a 2-year-old and then a baby. And it was a matter of just like, if the money comes, the money comes. I knew this is what I wanted. So I knew that, like, I knew like, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to learn. I love numbers. And then it took like 8 months. And then that's when I started to see the fruits of my labor. So it took me basically a year, I would say, for me to start seeing like, oh, wow, like I can do something with this. And then it took 2 years until I made a decent amount where I was just like, oh, okay, like this is it, you know? So I didn't have that pressure, but what you say is very accurate. Like a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I think all traders are borderline crazy. For you to wake up every day and put ourselves through what we put ourselves through on the charts, taking that risk, the stress levels that come with it, you're risking your money, your hard-earned money, your bread and butter, and you don't even know what the end result is going to be. You know, you're hoping for a win. You're hoping to be successful. And even though you get a nice win or you're consistent, you got to do it all over again. And again and again and again. So to have that mental fortitude to get up every day and put ourselves through that craziness, you got to be a little insane. Just a little.
I'm okay with that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I definitely chased money in the beginning like crazy. So I got like into this end of 2018. From 2018 until like late 2021, early 2022, I didn't see a single dime from trading. I was just losing and pouring my money in. And to be honest, I was chasing money. Like I didn't have any money. I was working a retail job. I was making like $17 an hour. I've been financially responsible since 18, so like you can imagine, it's like every dime meant
Matters,
so much.
right?
Yeah,
for sure.
So like it literally took a stand with myself. I'm like, okay, you're an idiot, and the longer you do this, the longer you do this, the far away you are gonna be from reaching your goals. Like, come on, woman up. Like you need to have a plan in place, and like you're chasing every single dollar on the charts. I mean, good for you. That's not gonna get you anywhere. But yeah, I chased for a long time for sure.
I think we've all been guilty of that.
Yeah.
Whether we want to admit it or not.
Would you say that chase, was there anything assigned to that, or was it just personal, like I just want to personally make money?
It's like I want to be in a better spot. I want to have like all the cool things in life, and like I want to show my parents that I'm successful and get them nice things, send them on nice trips. And it's like I want to make everyone around me proud, but at the same time it was coming at my own expense, because I wasn't seeing anything from trading. And then like, you know, when you get the phone call from your parents, how's trading going? Like, it's going amazing.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people, like, don't tell anyone when you're learning how to trade. Don't. And then when you start making money, you really aren't going to want to tell anyone, because then they're going to start asking you for money, or like ask you for this. You know, like, what are you doing? Show me what you're doing. Can you sit down? It's like, you don't know how long it took for me to get here.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the biggest one. Having people after you talk about it and they're like, okay, show me. And then you do, and they don't do anything with it. It's the most frustrating thing. Like, I love to be able to set that example and be like my uncle was the example at first for my entire family. He was the one that was making trading work, and he was making the money. And then there was a phase where everyone in the family wanted to learn from him. And he taught his sons, his daughter, family friends. He taught as many people as he could. And then I was part of that little bunch. And none of them took advantage of it. None of them, you know, actually made it work. I did, and now they're seeing me reap the benefits. So now this second wave is coming around, and they're wanting to do it again. And I'm just like, what stopped you the first time? Like, you should have been there with me, and now you'd be where I am. But now the learning curve is going to be, or the time it's going to take you is going to be so much longer. But I think that's huge to just be able.
From teaching, I'll tell you this: people don't trust themselves.
Yeah.
So like, you did it because you know what you're capable of. You know that if you put your attention towards something and you focus, you know you'll make it. Like, it's a belief in yourself. The reason why they don't do that is because their belief and trust in themselves is is at an all-time low. So they need first to work on themselves mentally and internally before they can do that. And I tell that to my students all the time. Like, you can sit there and try to show as many people as you want, but they have to trust themselves. And a lot of people, like, trading says a lot about you. Trading, I feel like I'm a trading psychologist, but like, by the way you trade, I can tell if you're the type of person that needs affirmations from this, or you need someone else to tell you, yes, go ahead and do that. I can tell if you can trade by yourself independently. Like, it shows your personality. So you did good.
100%.
But you know, there's like this saying that goes, if you give people the exact steps to make $1 million a year, they're still not gonna do it.
True
Like,
that.
like they're gonna just look at it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start tomorrow. No, tomorrow never comes. So it really, like you said, Jess, it really depends on the person. Are you willing to put the time? I don't want to say motivated. Motivation is great, but it's only gonna get you like not so far in life. If you're not willing to put the effort and the discipline, motivation is gonna run out pretty quick, and then you're just
then
gonna
what?
go back.
You got to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you believed you wanted change for your life.
Yep.
You wanted better. You wanted to take your parents out. So you know you're capable of doing that if you put in the work, and that's why you made it. And that's what people miss. That is literally the element. That's the disconnect of people who make it versus people who don't make it.
Right.
You gotta know your circle too. When I started trading, I didn't tell a single person.
Smart.
I didn't even tell my boyfriend at the time.
Good for you.
Smart. No idea. And it's not because it was some big secret, but a lot of your circles, sometimes you think they support you, but they really don't. They're like, yeah, I want to see you do great. You know, give you that little side.
I hope she doesn't.
So yeah. So you have to know like who you're dealing with. You can't be. You know that quote, that saying that says you can't celebrate your wins around everybody, because around them it sounds like you're bragging.
Yeah.
When in reality you're just talking. It's just normal to you now. But to them it sounds like you're bragging because they're not where you are. So they see it as, oh, she thinks she's better than everybody else. When in reality, I just worked my butt off to get here.
100%. Yeah.
So sometimes you got to know when to stand up tall and when to leave the room. So I think a lot of traders brag too much.
Agreed.
The ones that are still learning, the ones that have like a big day or something or a big win, they're so happy to tell everyone, not realizing it's your win. They're not there. And even if they're there, they may not be happy for you. Who knows? Because everybody has their own insecurities, things like that. So sometimes you got to keep to yourself.
Yeah, that was smart of you.
I agree.
Really smart.
Off the back of what you said there, though, it's actually quite interesting, because it's an interesting question, I think, because if I'm not mistaken, you've documented your journey from basically the beginning. And one thing I found is it's incredible to obviously document your journey, incredible to create content around the industry. But very similar to what you're saying as well, is like, why, you got to be careful when learning, not to have your intentions wrong and you know, put energy into the wrong things at that time, such as, you know, creating content when you're still learning and focused on that. But equally, why it's a good question, I would say, is that obviously you did document. So what are your sort of opinions on, you know, when you were learning? Was that a focus of yours? Was it a distraction? Was it helpful? Was it not? We'll go this way. Let's take a break for a minute, guys, because I want to tell you about the #1 prop firm in the world, and that is Alpha Capital. Let's get straight to the point. You want a prop firm that consistently pays out, that has its own strong infrastructure, meaning its own technology and its own brokerage, which means that you get the best platforms to trade on, as well as having institutional experience as its founders and leaders. Now, let's just quickly look at the Discord here for the payout proofs. You're talking 6 payout there, 7 payout there, first payout. Look at all these payouts in the Discord. Make sure you go check that out. Now, you can get 20% off all your challenges with Alpha Capital using the code RIZ. That's capital R-I-Z. 20% off thanks to the podcast and thanks to Alpha Capital. Go secure your challenge today. Now, Alpha Capital has also joined the future space. Alpha Futures has launched and is here today. Now, they are revolutionizing the space by offering the very best drawdown in the entire industry, including the 100K accounts and 150K accounts that they offer, and that's at 4%. Absolutely insane. On top of that, Alpha Futures does not trail your equity high or low for the day, meaning that if a trade goes back to break even, you do not have a chance of losing your account because of that. That's thanks to Alpha Futures. On top of which, they have no buffer zones or 60-90 rules on withdrawals like other prop firms in the future space have. Alpha Futures is here to revolutionize the space with the same team behind Alpha Cap. So make sure you use my code again, RIZ, all capitals RIZ, for 20% off your futures challenge. The links for both the cap and the futures will be in the description below. Check them out. Secure your challenges with the very best. Alpha, Capital, and Alpha Futures. Now let's get back to the episode.
Okay. So I did not document anything. I was losing in silence. And I was like, yeah, like I was losing in silence. I was doing all the stupid stuff in silence. And no, I didn't. And I actually, it's funny because I only started being active on like the trading space or social media only a few months ago. And I don't know, at least to me, I feel like it would have been a distraction because I see all of these people winning and all of these people like hitting milestones. And I'm like, I'm out here still losing my little $400 or $500. So I don't know, I just kind of like thought it's best to focus on me and get really good before I'm like, okay, I'm open to see how others are doing. And it's not coming from a bad place. Like I would be happy for others, but at the same time, I felt like I would be comparing myself too much. It's like, oh, this person made 10K today. I made $100. What am I doing wrong? Okay, let me just look back at the charts and try to catch something again. So I just think like I thought isolating myself was better, and then I think it worked better for me that way.
For sure. Smart.
I was the opposite.
Yeah.
I didn't really compare myself to anybody too much because I didn't see a lot of females.
True.
Yeah.
It was all guys. So I was looking like, where are the girls? You know? So, and coming from my job, male-dominated field, it was kind of like that too. So I'm looking like, oh my God, okay, where are all the guys? So anyway, my mentor, Raja is one of my mentors. And I started documenting my journey probably after I started learning from him, because that's when things really started clicking for me after that. So once I realized I started understanding what I was really doing, then I'm like, okay, I have to document this, but not to show really, to show other people like you can start from here and still succeed, even if you weren't sure what the heck you were doing in the first place. You get me? Once you start understanding what you're doing, now it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Now I can really take this seriously. Yeah. Now I got to get to work because I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So, no, I wasn't really comparing too much. However, I was in competition with myself. Because whenever I took a big loss, whenever I would blow an account or something, I was livid with myself.
Yeah.
But in defense of that, a lot of traders don't give themselves that patience. To give themselves time to progress. I kind of wanted it tomorrow, like yesterday. I wanted to be successful yesterday. You know, not realizing it takes time, it's a journey. So, but I think comparing yourself sometimes is a good thing because it's pushing you towards something. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, that's the benchmark I need to hit. I got to work towards that. Otherwise, what am I working towards? You know what I'm saying? So,
That's fair.
I would say documenting for me.
You've been great at it.
But I would say at the beginning, though, I was documenting, but I wasn't involved in the trading community. I didn't know any other traders besides my uncle. I was in my own little bubble. So I still documented and recorded everything, and it wasn't until just a few years ago did I actually feel even the need, because I really have no idea why I never even considered trying to get involved in, you know, the trading community as a whole. I think I was focused on other things. I was more interested in like cycling at the time. I was like, I want to know all the cyclists. I want to know, where do you guys ride? What do you do? I was more involved in that as far as social media goes than I was the trading industry. So I think it took me some time to, maybe I had to develop that confidence in my trading. And then I was like, okay, now we're getting involved in, you know, this insane new world for me of traders and trading in the community. But I would say documenting, when I did open up to the community and start following these people, and I compared myself, and that was annoying, but I also always did that with my uncle too, and I always had to bring it back and be like, he's been doing this for so long, of course you're not getting there tomorrow, like it's gonna take time. So I already had experience with the comparing. It was me to my uncle, and I had to like use it as fuel instead of like, you know, comparison, and be like, I'm down here, they're up there. Instead it was motivation, so, and inspiration. But when I opened up to the trading community, it was like a weird experience. Like it was jarring. I can't even, there's not even another word. It was sharp. To say the least, right? Yes. It was just this completely, like, flipped a switch, just a completely new world for me. But I think when I documented it, it gave me like this accountability, and like it's the mindset when you're sharing it with the world, like there is no option for failure. Like you guys are gonna watch me win, because there's no way you're gonna watch me fail. No way. So I think that was like, all right, I'm doing it. Like I have to have full confidence in myself and believe that I'm gonna make it, because you guys are here for the journey and I've already started. You guys already got to be in, in this world.
A question to follow that one.
What you got?
Like, so how do you deal with that pressure?
Oh, it's sometimes it's crippling.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's definitely. Oh man, last year it hit the hardest, because I not only was I changing my time frame for trading, I was going from the 1 hour to the 4 hour. That was a struggle, and I had to publicly show how I was struggling. Like January sucked, and I had to be like, we're losing money. Hey, I still know what I'm doing. I hope you guys still believe in me, but I'm taking losses.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes it's crippling, but you got to use it as like accountability and fuel, and just know that this is just a season. But it's a lot of pressure, and you got to be able to handle it. But I think, when you've been doing it for so long, like the pressure, it's not new. So it's a different type of pressure.
Okay.
Like at the beginning, the pressure was, I don't want people to see me fail. And now the pressure is like, now I have this massive, following. No, I'm not saying massive. I have this big following, but I also have students now, like people that are counting on me
and looking up to
yes.
you. Yeah, that's
so now
pressure.
It's a different kind
I know.
Of
that's why I'm
yeah.
wondering like how you balance that, because number one, I respect it. Number two, like that's a lot to deal with as a trader, because then you don't want it to interfere with your trading for yourself.
Yes, and it does.
Yeah.
And there's times where it will, and it does, and I'm aware of it, and it sucks. Like I'll take trades just so that I can make a stupid YouTube video out of it. How annoying. Like, so it's just there's a lot that goes into it, but I think I don't know what I do, actually, to be honest with you. I think I do somehow. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
You say you've been doing it that long that it's kind of become more second nature to you.
Yes. Yeah. I think it helps that I've been doing it for a while. So it's new, like it's new situations, but like the pressure of, the feeling of pressure or having to, show or be accountable, like it's all the same, and I've been doing it for a while, but it's just like you'll get new types of like, pressure points.
Got you.
But you got to just kind of
adapt.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, very cool. Oh, me, right?
Yeah.
She tried to get away with it. That's what she did.
No. She made a really good point. Yeah. So for me, no, I learned, I'm going to shout him out. So I learned from Roy, the coin, and
the coin.
Yeah, that's who
Roy, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah, that's who I learned from. So I learned from a man that is very humble. He does 50, 60K a week. He has no need to show it off. He's a swing trader. That's where I learned from. So initially I was brought into the MLM world, and I knew immediately that I don't like this type of attention. So I exit stage left, and that's when someone was like, no, Jeff, I'm gonna put you in contact with my mentor. Like, I know this will work. And I knew that was who I wanted to learn from. And what I love about him is he's not flashy. This man is very well off. There's no internet. There's none of that. Like, we didn't care. There was no social media. We were traders in a community. We were there to learn. I still to this day have screenshots of my trades when I first started. I have all of my screenshots.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah, like I have
too.
everything, because there are times where I may be going through a rut, and it's not that I forgot my strategy, but it's like, okay, I made 6 figures doing this. What happened? Like, why am I only making this much? What did I do that, and I go back and I reflect to my notes. So I wasn't too big on social media, but I was documenting. Like, that was huge for me. And it was different than what it is now. Like, now a lot of people are doing prop firms, and it's like, you can't do this percentage. It wasn't any of that for me. For me, it was more of just like, he's big on risk management. So it was mitigating my risk properly, reducing it, and being able to compound. That was my focus, was compounding, risk management, holding swings. That's it. So I didn't share it. I didn't share it with anybody. And I became a teacher by mistake. So it wasn't like, I wasn't trying to show people what I was doing. It was more of just, this has to work. So I got to do what I have to do. Yeah. You didn't know I learned from Roy?
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Roy's like an undercover guy, but I watched him when I was years ago. I've seen him, he's savage
his
trader.
Stuff is hard to understand, but it's like calculus of trading, kind of.
Whoa.
But he's amazing. He's probably going to kill me for.
Oh gosh.
Hopefully you'll be happy that I knew who he was.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but I followed him years ago, and he's incredible trader.
One of the most humble.
That just goes to show how important it is to have a good mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had your uncle, you can't get any better than
For
that. You had a good one. We all had, people that were available to us to take us under their wing and say, okay, I want you to be successful at this. This is how to do it. Now it's up to you to go out and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So the people, and this irks my nerves, the ones that are like, oh, well, you can learn everything on YouTube. Good luck with that.
You can. You can. We've seen it. It's possible. It's
going to take you a lot longer. Your learning curve is going to be that much bigger. But if you have someone that actually genuinely cares, because you have some people that don't care. Just, okay, here's my course, good luck. Yeah. Then you have the ones that are like, here's my course, let me know if you have any questions. Those are the ones that that definitely.
Yeah. That's why your recent reel, I had to share that because the one about having a mentor,
I gotta see that one.
Yeah, because it's true. You have to have someone that you can trust. It's, she made a valid point. It was a good one.
Yeah, it was talking about anybody can have a mentor, but it is the one that you have this unwavering, trust in or faith in. Because then that student that truly believes everything you're saying and you're showing that they can be profitable by simply just following what you do, that's going to be the trader that makes it. That's going to be the student that makes it. Whereas the student that's I don't know if Sharlene's actually showing me everything, or is there something that she does that she's not showing, because she's gatekeeping or whatever it is.
They feel that
it's the student. Oh yeah, are you kidding me? It's the student that's I'm taking everything she says and I'm believing it and I'm going to just completely hit this hard.
Yep.
And commit to it. So I think that was a point that I'd made just recently.
But then you have the ones that make excuses too. Those are the ones that are like, oh, is this person gatekeeping? When in reality, are you studying?
Yeah.
Are you back
I'm into that.
Did you even open the course?
Oh, my team knows.
Oh my God.
My team knows you can't do that because I will know immediately when you are BSing. They know, and I'm like, nope, you didn't do the homework.
Yeah.
Nope. Right by now, you should know what type of risk you should be using. You should not be asking me what type of stop loss.
Yeah.
Go back and watch this video, blah blah blah, and then let me know after you've done your homework. And then just look at me like, homework, yes, homework. You want to make it, this is what you want. You have to do homework.
Yeah, and Sharlene said something that everything's on YouTube. If I'm coming fresh into the space and I open YouTube, the first video is gonna be this strategy's the best. The video right after, this strategy sucks. Dude, so it's kind of hey guys, come on, let's collectively agree on a strategy.
Which one is the best?
So there's a lot of information out there, and by all means, you can make use of it. But I think if you go with someone that has the experience and has something that proves that works, it's just gonna cut your learning curve crazy.
For sure.
Oh
Yeah.
You mentioned risk, and it's a good discussion to make in terms of what is your risk appetite? Is it based on percentage? Are you going down the sort of route of 1% risk, 2% risk, 0.5% risk, or is it dollar amounts? Is it dynamic, not fixed? And why? Why make that decision for your risk management? Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our brand new sponsor, WOR, a one-stop shop for all things digital assets and digital community. Now, if you're a trader out there looking to elevate your trading game, which is why you're watching this podcast, WOP is the place to find your community and find your mentor. There are tons of free trials that you can take advantage of today, so make sure you go check those out. Talking of which, on Words of Rizdom and Day Trading Show, we're hosting a free community on WOP. So make sure you join those. The links will be in the description. Now, for the creators out there, WOP is the one place that you need to be because they're a community-driven platform and they handle all aspects of your business. You can customize every element of your offer using WOP. You can either use their in-house apps or even sync your Telegram and Discord. One of the most important things that creators suffer with and worry about today is having a payment processor that won't shut them down. You don't have to worry about that at all using WOP. And just to add the cherry on top, they drive demand and subscriptions to your business just because you're hosted on their marketplace. It is a complete no-brainer. Now, there's a link in the description to book a call directly with them so you can get your community set up today. Check that out. Let's get back to the episode.
So I don't do percentages. I feel like I'm the weirdo that doesn't do percentages.
No,
you don't do
you're
it
right
either. I'm a numbers girl.
Yeah.
So I can't do percentages. It has to be a number. So I know. I'm going to say NAS just because I know you have stock option traders, but I'm going to use, I say NAS, it's NASDAQ. I know that before someone comes after me.
What's NAS?
Look, I'm from the Bronx. I think of NAS, like the rapper, so I just say NAS.
I got you.
Okay? But for example, when I trade NAS, okay, I know all my trades I have a max of a 35 pip stop loss, but I'm a swing trader. So I'm holding it for 500 pips and I'm compounding every time market structure is retested. That is what I do. Once I have covered my risk, my stop loss is brought in or new structure is created. So if let's say I'm risking a standard, I'm only risking $350 to make $4,000, $5,000. That's nothing. And I know that I take 4 trades per week. They're all at least a 1-to-3 ratio. If I were to lose 3 of my trades, I'm still green. So for me, it's a matter of, okay, what is my budget for this month? What am I willing to risk? I take a percentage from my wins from my previous month, and I just utilize that strategy. So I don't do 1%, 3%. I'm sorry, y'all. But it's more of, okay, I have a set stop. All my trades, I don't go over 35 pips. That's it. My average drawdown is 12 to 13 pips. So I know that I have to be comfortable seeing my account or that trade negative that amount. And my trades average a certain amount of time for them to play out. So when I'm in that trade, if I do have risk, I can't freak out. I have to understand that my trades average, swing trades, they average about, it's like 2 days. But like it'll take 2 to 3 days for it to play out. So I have to sit on my hands and just chill. But that's all I do is I just do numbers. That's it. I have a cap. If I lose this, it's time for me to step back. I don't do demo, but it's time for me to step back and just like reset because there's something's not right if I were to lose all my trades. Like that's not normal, but that's it. 35 pips and depending on what my budget is.
Would you reduce, if let's say you lost all, do you then reduce risk or do you
Absolutely,
keep it?
yeah. So let's say I was going in with a standard, I would reduce it to a half, or maybe I'll get in multiple positions at a 0.20, I'll do that just so that I can feel a little bit better, build up my confidence, and then go from there. 90% of the time, a loss is because of something that happened, on a higher time frame. That's every time I backtest and examine my losses, it's a higher time frame thing. So I fix it.
Love it.
Mine is dynamic, we could call it. I mean, it's dollar amount also. So it's just since I'm trading with trend lines, I am trying to figure out, what time frame was this trend line drawn in? How much weight does it hold? How many touch points does it have? And then when I finally get the break, I now have an opposing trend line. So it's like, what is the new trend that's going to be following along? And it's where price is in conjunction to that new trend line. So is this new trend line going to be the one? Is price now going to follow along this trend line? If price is too far away from that trend line, and it's usually a dollar amount, but when I'm teaching, I'm like, okay, I have to, just to save my students' capital, go by a 1 to 3%. Like we can do the position tool calculator and see, okay, where price is at right now in conjunction to that trend line, what is the percentage of your capital? But for me, my trading, it is dollar amounts. So if the price is too far away from that trend line that it could be now possibly following along, that's going to be a higher risk trade. I got to figure out, am I reducing my position size when I get into this thing? Am I passing up on this trade altogether? Or am I getting this trade knowing that, all right, we're going in risky on this one? Or if price is closer to the trend line, I know that if this doesn't work out, risk is minimal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can come in heavier in this position size. So it's very dynamic. It's always going to be where price is in conjunction to this new trend that I'm trying to get in on.
I am a scalper. I don't know am I the only scalper at the table? Okay.
Nice.
I only scalp
Scalpers versus
futures.
swing
I only scalp futures. Futures is the only thing I will scalp.
Okay.
I haven't got to her level with holding.
I have a phobia of swing trading. I don't know what
Really?
it is. I can't do it. Have I held some trades for a couple hours? Yeah, I have.
I can relate.
But am I hyperventilating the whole time?
Oh my God.
Really? Wow.
And believe, when I hold a trade, I've already secured something. That's a runner most of the time. All the time, that's a runner. But no, I literally, first of all, no percentages. I trade dollar amount, just like you do, dollar amount. I'd love to know where the percentage thing came from. Who made that up?
Right? Is this our edge?
Yeah.
Is this it?
I'm
Are we
not
about to
trading
find out on this
1%
pod
of
today?
$100. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not here for pennies. I got bills to pay.
I did not come into this to make minimum wage. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that.
I think it's just the proper thing to say to avoid liability.
True.
I think it takes that away from whoever's communicating what to do. But Like, we have bills that we have to pay. I got kids I got to take care of, you know?
It's not possible. And that's the other thing, too. It's, okay, did you come into this to make money? Or did you come into this to just have fun on the charts? Because which one is it? Because trading is a borderline gambling. My family calls it, you're a gambler. Okay, whatever. But you're gambling with an edge because you're not just throwing mud at a wall and seeing what sticks. You're actually analyzing and going off of data. So that's why I scalp, because I feel like the markets are so unpredictable. It's like you can analyze all you want. At the end of the day, it's going to do what it wants to do. And we're only human. You know, we're not robots. We don't know exactly what it's going to do all the time. So I feel like if you can just take what the market gives you and be content with that.
That's the hardest part.
Be content.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
If at your job, let's say you make $10 an hour, you make $80 a day. If you can make $80 a day in 5 minutes, take that. If you can make 100 in 2 minutes, take it. You know what I mean? Because over time, your account will grow, your confidence goes up. The market's a creature of habit. Does the same things over and over. You can find this. I get the same setups every day. I trade only US30 now. I don't trade gold anymore. I don't trade UJ, nothing. But I find the same setups all the time. So if you can find those same setups and have confidence in that setup, know the pullback is going to happen. Know your trend line is going to get touched. Know your fib levels, all that. Have confidence in what you know because you've been studying. So if you can do that, the money part will take care of itself. If you have the knowledge, the money is a byproduct because you're going to make money if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose, right? And you don't know how much you're going to make. You can only control what you're going to lose. The only thing you have control over is your risk. So if you can minimize how much you lose and live to trade another day, you've already won.
Yeah, so for me, it's a little different because I think about my trades in percentages. And I just felt like from a psychology point of view, it was easier for me. Like, for example, if I take a loss, did I lose 10, 20, 30K, or did I lose X, like 1, 2, 3%? So when I think about it from that perspective, it's just easier for me to continue going. Okay. And I just found that like it's the easiest way to keep scaling up in trading because I'm not thinking about the dollar when I lose, because when I win, it's amazing. Oh yeah, I made the X amount of dollars. I have no problem. But when I lose, I just wanted something that isn't playing with my head too much, because sometimes you lose a lot and that money's like, oh, did I just lose this in 10 minutes? Like, am I okay? I'm a scalper, but I do size. Like, I'm not afraid to put size on the position.
Gotcha. So you say dynamic?
Yeah. So that's why, like, it's easier for me to think of it from like a percentage perspective. Just so like sense. The numbers aren't playing with my head. So yeah, but you know, that's the beauty of this. Like, we all trade so differently and we're all able to make make money. So like, it's not like a one size fit all. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you too though. I gotta ask. How do you guys keep your composure holding trades for days?
Girl,
I'm curious too.
I look at the daily candles. So for me, it's just daily candles. So at the end of the day, 5 o'clock. So I go and handle business and I only look at daily candles. So my weekly, I do top-down analysis every single time, every week. My weekly candle is going to let me know what's going to happen. So if my weekly candle, and I'm going to get technical, but let's say it's a shooting star by a resistance or by, we call them zones. I will dissect that candle and then I will go down to the daily and make sure that price is respecting underneath that close of that candle. And once I see that, I'm getting in. Then I will just observe on the daily. That's it. I don't go to the 4 hour. I love the 4 hour. 4 hour is my entry. Like, that's how I was taught, 4 hour.
Okay.
So 4 hours is my favorite entry time frame, period. But to observe, just daily. And then I know that when an impulse occurs on the daily, it's going to make a pullback. So I have to understand that when it hits that structure, I can scale out of my position because it's going to make a pullback. So I can handle it going down and draw down a little bit more, but then I'll add an additional position once I get the retest and that new structure formed on the daily. Observe it on the 4 hour, bam. So the daily candles are what keep me sane, and I only check them at close. That's it.
At what point, like if you see the daily and the trade, let's say, isn't going in your, like, is there a point where you're looking and you're like, oh, I don't think this is going to play out the way I thought it was. Let me.
I don't want to sound like this because they always go in my direction. When I'm using higher time frames. So when I'm looking at it in a smaller time frame, what happens, the only thing that can happen is that it's a doji forming on a daily and it's consolidation on a smaller time frame. So I have to understand that if that's happening, like if there is a doji occurring on a daily, and it's by a weekly support, it is most likely going to move sideways for 7 to 11 days in that area. So I have to either mentally be prepared for that or whatever. I don't exit prematurely out of my positions because I've learned that it just bites me in the butt when I do that. Like, I'm okay with what I lose. Like, I'm okay with that. Like,
So you hold to full TP or full stop loss?
I hold in compound. So I hold 2 to 3 positions for the entire swing, and then I'll use the 4-hour retest to compound and 1-hour structure. So I'll do that to compound for day trades, and I trade. It's like Wednesday, Thursdays are my most profitable days. So I'll do that. And then I just keep the swing going. And then I just move my stop loss. Once my stop loss is in profit, like,
that's it. Risk free.
Yeah. And I've always been taught, like, the way I was taught is I get in right at the wick. So if you've seen Roy's charts, you know, like, yeah. So I get in right at the wick and
Ride the wave.
ride it. That's it. You just have, like, I treat it like crypto. That's what I can say. Like, if you buy crypto, for the most part, you're buying to invest in crypto. When I'm swing trading, I look at it as if I'm buying crypto. I look at it as an investment. I don't look at it as, like, I'm in this trade, what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm in this trade, like, it's like a crypto investment. That was long, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I like to provide, like, these are the steps I take so you can go try it at home, you know?
This
Like,
is great. This is great. I'm learning a lot. What about you, Tori?
And it's not as articulate as
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're great. When I'm in mine, I mean, mine's definitely, it's still exhausting to me, and how long have you been doing it for?
I've been trading
A
since
minute?
2017.
Was swing your first? That's what.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
That's
makes a
why
lot of
when you
sense.
talk, I'm like, my mentor says, swing your way to freedom. That's his motto.
Okay, I'm only a year and a half into swing, so I'm still in the exhaustion point where sometimes it's, holding that trade for a week is like, when I close it, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Like, okay, it's done. It's over, but now we got to do it again, when I get the next setup. I'm still going through that, so it's still tough. It feels easier this year, but last year I struggled the most with, you said that you let the trade ride out. Like, you
Yes.
get in and you're in this
Yeah.
for, like, it could be the long run.
I
What I did, and maybe it's because maybe my entries aren't as, sniper as yours are, but when I get into my position, there are times where, yes, it could be like, a week from now where I get in and immediately in drawdown, day after day after day, drawdown, but it's still within my parameters. I'm still holding. And then, finally, on like the 5th day or the end of the week, I'm finally in the green. And then the next week, maybe I'm in drawdown again. By that point, I'm freaking exhausted. I had an opportunity where I was
Yeah,
up.
that's mentally like.
But then the biggest problem that I had was after that, after drawdown, I'm in profit, drawdown. The next time it's in profit, I take it because I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Whereas I should have just let that thing right out. I should have held some mental space.
You cut your win short.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's been one of my biggest issues is by the time I'm finally up, the next time around or the third time around in that swing trade, I'm exhausted. I can't physically or mentally hold any longer to actually let the trade play out.
That's a valid point, though. That makes a lot of sense. That's like, it's stamina. Like, you have to build that stamina mentally to go through that. But you've been improving, so it's working.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
But that's why I love the way I trade so much, because I feel like Sharline would agree. If you trade US 30 or like gold, the way if you scalp them within the first 5-10 minutes, you're gonna know if you're right or wrong, and then like move on with your life. Yeah.
I love gold. I love gold. I used to hate gold. I would never touch gold. Now gold, I'm like, it's so easy. Like, and people are like, no, you just got better. Kind of like what you said. I'm like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Are we all technical traders? Anybody fundamental here?
Negative.
Oh, I can tell you something.
Let's hear it.
I'm
What
gonna
you
look
got?
right in this camera and tell you guys, and I'm gonna upset a lot of fundamental traders. Your
getting spicy.
news always bounces off your weekly and your daily levels, your FOMCs, your CPIs, everything. It's predictable. You will get an indication to get into the trade 2 days prior. Write it out. I have never been wrong on an NFP. I have never been wrong on a CPI. I have never been wrong on an FOMC. I'm gonna knock on wood.
When you turn the cameras off, we're going to have a real serious conversation.
It's
We'll be
crazy
right
because I
back.
put this on my social media. Like, I put all these nuggets on my social media and people don't even know. Like you said, you can show people how to make $1 million and they won't even know. I literally have given this information out for free. and people don't even know. But literally, right before, you'll see it. You'll see even NFP. When my team, what I do is right before it's about to hit, I'm like, all right, guys, what's going to happen? You look at the dollar. Dollar was making a double bottom. There was divergence. It was right there on the daily. It was going to go up. That gold was going to go down. And you can tell if you wait maybe an hour later, you'll get a cleaner setup. So you can trade NFP and quickly get that impulse, and you know that first candle is going to wick. It's going to wick. Get your money, get out. That is a scalp. Wait an hour, get that retest, ride the rest of the wave. Like NFP, always by weekly or daily levels. And the day before gives you an indication.
Do you factor in news in your analysis?
I only trade news now. I used to. So
Interesting.
when I first.
Okay.
So
She's
I
a
first.
fundamental trader. But not really.
Well, because when you say fundamentals, like if you ask me what the stats were, what the job, I don't know. Like I don't know none of that. You know, like I'll show my team how to get that data. But personally, the technicals always push, like the news always pushes my trades in the direction I've already anticipated because I'm using higher time frames. If I'm using the small, because I trade smaller time frames for stock options and futures. So I do 15, 5, and 2. But every single time, I have not, like I've been right every single time. It's so predictable every time. Every time FOMC speaks, it'll spike up real quick, come back. Then you wait 30 minutes or 15, 30 minutes, and it'll continue.
So when Powell or Trump were getting up on that podium, you weren't like...
No, because
oh my God, you gotta see me.
Well, there's confluences. Like it has to be by my weekly or daily level. My daily candle has to give me an indication of rejection the day before. So that's my confirmation there, right? So for example, I have a hammer at a support, and Powell's about to speak tomorrow. Yeah, there's a possibility it could go down. I know that. But if I just observe price action on the 4-hour, I see exhaustion. I already know I'm taking it. Yeah, we're going up. I think it's there. I just think we've all been programmed, don't trade news. And I'm not saying trade news. You can trade right after news. That's the better setup, right? Yeah. But if you take the time to study news properly, you can see the behavioral pattern in the market. It's like a no-brainer, but people still lose.
I think that's a powerful point, telling yourself what you can and can't do. Because back when I was trading GJ, I would always say, I can't trade gold. It's too hard. I don't understand it. Until I started trading it, then I understood it. Then I was telling myself, I can't trade US 30. I don't understand it. I can never trade it. Then I started looking at it, and it was making sense to me. Now I'm like, I can trade US 30. So if we keep telling ourselves, don't trade news, I can't trade news, but you never try, how do you know?
Yeah.
So
And I understand that spread, and I understand all of that. Like, there's a lot of things you have to factor in, but like I mentioned, if you wait shortly after, there is a cleaner setup, right? And like I always show my teams, like, this is how you backtest news. And for stock options, the money's so easy. Like you can sit there. What's beautiful about stock options, is that it compounds. So for every point or every dollar that stock moves, your profits are compounding. So it's not the same amount for each point that it moves. You're making 50 plus 55 plus 60 plus 65 until you make $100 max. And then you just make $100 for each point or each dollar it moves. I say points because I deal with Forex traders, but so when it moves, you make your money and you can get out, right? So I like news with stock options because it gives me volume and it makes me more money.
But there's something else I feel like that we need to collectively break as traders, and it's like, don't trade after news. Don't trade the first Monday of the month. Don't trade on Fridays. I'm like, who said? Can I try for myself and see if it works? Yeah. Like, just don't blindly follow these things. I did for a long time, and then I'm like, I'm missing beautiful setups on Fridays because out of nowhere, the big boys decide to like short gold or like, buy US 30. So just, make your own analysis. Don't just take everything's like, no, this person said don't do this, I'm not gonna do it.
They think I'm so mean on the internet because I'm like, well, do your work, do your research, like go back test it. Don't have me tell you to do this. Like go back and check it, because when you do that due diligence, you feel better. You feel more confident when you've taken those notes, you've journaled it down. You're like, oh no, I know it does this. I've checked this for the last 6 months. Compared to like, well, Coach Jess said to do that, so I'm just going to do it. There's a difference there.
They don't trust themselves. Yeah. That's where it circles back to. They feel like they look up to us. So they feel like if Tori says this, it must be that. I don't have to study. She said that. No, you still have to study.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How important do you think it is not to be lazy as a trader? Because as you just mentioned there, most people, they will buy a course, never watch it. I did this. So. But you buy a course and you don't really watch it. You just watch maybe something that's close to signals but isn't signals, like a forecast, for example. And yet then they wonder why they're not progressing. Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about the best trading tool on the market, TradeZella. The reason why TradeZella is the #1 trading tool that every trader needs is because you can do backtesting, automated journaling, trade replay, in-depth analytics, and so much more. And the greatest part about TradeZella is that it's all automated. All you have to do is connect your MT4 and MT5. It will pull all your data onto the dashboard. You can add playbooks. You can just add notes. You can add images from your trades, and you can get the insights that is necessary for you to progress as a trader. Now, TradeZella is for absolutely everyone. Whether you're a crypto trader, whether you're a Forex trader, whether you trade prop firms, it is for absolutely everyone. And that is why thousands of traders have signed up using my link here through the podcast. Make sure you use the code RIZ10 for 10% off your monthly subscription, or WOR for 20% off your yearly subscription. The link is in the description below. And let's get back to the episode.
If you're lazy, give up on life. That's all I have to say.
And it right
Go
here.
make it.
You can't be lazy at life. You can't. You don't have time. You got bills. You have to maintain. Unless you're a homeless drunk on the street who has nothing, and even they have to make money to buy their drinks.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they still
They
on the
hustle.
corner.
They
Yeah.
got to get something too. So you can't live and be lazy. Like, come on. I mean, no, trading is not for everybody. I say everybody can do it, but it's not for everybody. You got to be disciplined. You have to want it. You have to have that willpower. You have to be like laser focused on your goal. And to do that, you have to get up every day and do something. So if you're lazy, all right, go get a 9-to-5, because this is not the life for you at all. Because you never truly make it. It's a journey. You never end in trading.
There's no
You're
mastering.
always learning. You're always meeting new things, learning new things, or meeting new people, or, you know, I learn something new every day. I learned enough at this table and this talk right here, you know. So what are you doing with yourself if you're lazy? Like, do you have no ambition, no goals, no inspiration or mentors or anybody around you? Like, your circle is important too, you know. Just being around you guys here is valuable. So if you're lazy, it's because you don't have anything to push you, to motivate you. You're not in the right rooms. You don't have any goals. You don't write anything down. You're probably broke. So it's hard for you to find that motivation, but you gotta, no one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna come to your rescue. You gotta want it for yourself. So if you're lazy, trading is not for you. Sorry.
Or even just, I think you're just, I was listening to this thing by Jordan Peterson. He may be controversial, but there's a few points that, like, I think he makes pretty valid. Is like, if you don't know what you're aiming for, obviously you ain't going nowhere. You're not gonna hit nothing. Mm-hmm. So it could be, maybe even to be less harsh, maybe you just have no idea. Like, maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you've got like the ambition for something.
Yeah.
But you got no freaking idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you have to pick the right thing, or even with trading, the right strategy or the right mentor. I think it's going to be based on you as a person. So figuring out what that goal is. Like, I don't know if, I'm going to be honest, Riz, I don't know if guys do this as much as girls do, but like, you know, manifesting, writing goals down. Maybe there's a different way that guys do this. I don't know. But like, affirmations.
Scream in the mirror.
You can do this. But I feel like that's so huge. If you can journal every day, like manifest, write down goals, like envision yourself like 5 to 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Even that, I'm at a point right now where I have to reevaluate. Like, I've hit so many freaking goals. I'm like,
Good for you.
okay, let's otherwise I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know.
You don't
even
wanna get
right now.
stuck, right?
Even right now, yes.
Yeah.
So I have to reevaluate everything. I'm like, okay, I hit my goals already. Now we gotta think outside the box, like something crazier, because we're hitting them. So now I gotta reevaluate and write down. And this is what I like to do, is just like, okay, what exactly do I look like in detail 5 years from now? And then 10 years from now, 10 years
Yeah.
may be too far, but like 3 to 5 years from now, what do I have? What am I doing? What is my lifestyle? And I try to be as detailed as possible. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this every day. I'm, you know, I got a personal trainer 4 times a week, and I'm going to be Big Booty Judy one day. Like we are, like, and I'm writing it down. Like we are just, like if it's trading, if it's how much am I making for trading a month or a year, like I'm writing everything down, and then you scale it down, and then it's like, then that becomes an everyday thing. Now every day you're working closer towards that. And in trading, it's the same thing. It's not so much, you know, like what strategy do I pick or what mentor or what, like, it's like, let's get a goal and work towards it every day.
Yeah.
And now obviously there's going to be, you know, stipulations to that. I hope that you pick a good strategy. Like hopefully you don't go with the moon phase indicator and you're like, okay, that's what we're trading with. But like maybe you can make it work 3 years from now. But it's like hopefully you've got some discretion and you pick a good strategy that's got some, you know, credentials and it's got, you know, some data behind it. But if you can just aim towards that and then scale it down, and then that's like, then every day you're getting closer towards that. So maybe you're not lazy, but like maybe you just got no freaking idea where you want to go or what you want to do. And I think that's step one.
100%.
Find your purpose and wake up every morning with that purpose and follow it. As soon as your feet touch the floor in the morning, what do I have to do? Oh, brush my teeth. Okay, let me go do that. Now what do I have to do? Okay, and then just put one foot in front of the other. That's it. So it's not hard.
Yeah. And I think, like Tori said, writing things down and also like playing the long-term game, because sometimes I get asked, it's like, okay, how does it feel to achieve your goals? I'm like, okay, it feels good, but like, this is not my only goal, because when you're a trader, you hit one milestone, you're on to the next, you're on to the next. So there isn't like an end goal. Of course, all of us would like to like eventually retire or something, I don't know, but like there isn't an end goal. There isn't just like one thing you're working towards and then like, okay, I hate that thing, I'm done. I'm just like, you know, moving on with my life. No, it's not like that. And another thing that I feel like I see a lot of people talk about, it's like, oh, I can't wait to quit my 9 to 5 to like trade full time because my 9 to 5 challenges me. What do you think this is, a walk in the park? Like it is not. So yeah.
It's the biggest myth.
It is.
Nobody leaves their job to trade full time.
I did it, and it was disgusting. Please don't do it.
It's so ghetto, right?
Yeah, don't do it. Oh my God.
Trading can't be number 1.
Yeah.
Trading's got to be like number 3 probably on your list. You need another more stable, less risky number 1.
When my students tell me that, the whole 9 to 5 thing, you saw me roll my eyes. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh. I tell them, no, you have to have the job fund the dream.
Yep.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
The job funds the dream, because what I've noticed as an educator, I get that's told to me all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to be careful what you manifest, because you keep saying you don't want this job, you don't want this job. Those people that have come to me and say that, they end up losing their job, and now there's more pressure on them because now they have to get this trading thing down.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were just saying how you didn't like your job, now what? Like putting all this pressure on yourself for a skill set that you haven't even taken the time to learn fully, and then think that it's going to automatically just take care of your life expenses. That's a lot to deal with mentally. Like there's only a few people that can overcome that. So it's like you have to be careful when you say that. I always tell people, you may not like your position now, that's okay, but don't say it too much. Like don't put it out there too much. Just, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. This is going to happen. These are my goals. And that's it. If you end up quitting your job, then you quit your job. Cool. But don't talk too much about how you hate something that is essentially taking care of you or providing for your family.
100%.
Because I feel like the universe will go and just give somebody else that blessing. And then what, you know?
In terms of working hard and being consistent, determined, pushing on, one thing that I found, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it and what your experience was, or may have even observed in students, whoever it may be, is in the beginning it's hard to work hard. It's hard to do the day-to-day actions, but then as you do it over a long period of time, it starts to compound, and then as Tori was saying, like, you've hit those goals, now I need to make bigger ones, and you probably end up hitting those faster than imagine when it was day one. The first set of goals are the longest, but then once you've built that sort of routine and that mindset is just ingrained in you, the compounding effect just takes over and you start achieving things in a much faster period of time. And I don't want to mistake that to think, oh, you know, you're going to do things very quickly. it might be the first one, might be 5 years. But then between 5 and 10, you've done something absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
What has your experience been with that?
So I met my goals much faster than I expected, kind of like what you said. And I think for me, am I the old? I think I'm the oldest one here, huh? I'll be 40 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're as young as you feel.
We need the secrets. I didn't think that old.
Oh, well, thanks. For me, it's crazy because I've gotten everything that I've wanted. So I've lived in the big house. I've had everything I've wanted. I've been there, done that. And I think that now it's more like I've become more family oriented. So like I just had this, like this happened this week when we said we were coming down here. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring the family. Like I'm bringing the family. We're gonna we're gonna experience things together because I realize I've done so much by myself, but I haven't exposed my kids to a lot. So I think now my goals are, and it may be different obviously, but my goals are just my family and my children and creating memories and putting, like I could buy myself whatever I want, doesn't bring me happiness anymore. Like that's not there anymore.
After a while, it goes away.
Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, I do like diamonds, but like I love gems I love. But no, honestly, it's creating a foundation for them now. Now it's like, okay, not that I'm finished, I don't want to say that, but it's more of finding different ways to grow in what I do, but helping them grow. Like now I have to help them grow. How can I make them better? So I feel like I've been more humble. Like I've become more humble. When I first started, I was spending money ridiculously. Like I was not smart, you know. But then now it's just like, no, let's go take a trip here. Let's go do this. Let's go get your passport. Let's go, you know, like that's what life is about for me now, which is crazy. I never thought I would say that in a million years.
It's amazing.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm getting pretty close to that too. Like now my goals are not, you know, money oriented anymore. It's more like thinking inward. What can I change about myself? What are some things that I need to work on to be a better person? You know, family stuff is absolutely hitting you harder than it's ever hit.
Me too.
You lose a little bit of like passion and drive when you don't have it. And I'm like a little bit lost at my point right now. I'm like, okay, I gotta get something together because like the money is not as, dude, it does not mean as much. Like sure at the beginning you have fun and it's cool to get a watch, you know what I'm saying? And like to get a cool car and then it's like, then what? Then it's like, okay, this truly, and maybe that's probably what we're all going to experience. Maybe everyone, like, you know, you get the money, you get to experience the material things, but then it always comes back to like, okay, like, but who am I spending my time with? Who gets to benefit? There. Who's comfortable? It's always that.
I think we all have to get that out of our system.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because you're living a lifestyle that, first of all, the average Joe doesn't live. The average people that are around you are not experiencing that, where you can make $1,000 in a day if you want to, at your beck and call sometimes. So I've been there, and I was like Jess, I was spending money like nobody's business, and I thought it was gonna fulfill me, and it didn't. After a while, that like satisfaction of hitting that goal and doing that was great. When I did it, after a while, it's like, okay, now what? So the money is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna take it for granted at all. It's a total blessing what we do and how we're able to provide for ourselves. But no, it's more about my family now. You know, I want to get married. I want to have kids now. I don't even care about anything else right now except for building my own family right now and traveling the world. I'm going to Barcelona in a week. It's like I just want to make memories because the material things, the happiness that it brings you, it doesn't last. It just doesn't last. The people look at it like, oh, if you have this car, if you have this lifestyle, this house or whatever. And it's like, yeah, no. It's a great feeling. But after a while, it's truly what really makes you happy. You think those things are going to make you happy. In reality, it doesn't. Oh, yeah.
I've gotten robbed before, and that's what made me stop. Like I stopped. So I got robbed with both my kids on my hip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
So at that point, like after that happened, I lost like all my jewelry. I lost all my designer, everything. And that was a pivotal moment for me. And I was like, okay, I need to be smart. Like, I need to be more safe. I'm not being smart. Like, you have to be careful who you are around, and it does attract the wrong people. And that was happening with me, the wrong people, not realizing it. And next thing you know, I had a scary situation where I just had to let them do what they do, because I'm not letting go of my babies. So, I hope that doesn't happen to anybody, but that was what changed it for me.
Yeah, I think it's because we're all females. So obviously we have that maternal instinct. We have that nurturing instinct in us. We're women, so we don't have that same ego-driven drive that men do, to have the baddest car or the biggest Rolex or whatever. So it's different for us. I think it puts things more in perspective. And I think you need to experience that, though. I think you need to get that itched, where it's like, okay, yeah, I could buy this, I could buy this, I could do that. But then after a while, what truly makes you happy? Find that out, and okay, now you've made it.
Because after a while, when you see that you can afford all these things easily and you don't have to like work your butt off to get them, it kind of like loses its value. It's like, okay, well, I can really easily go get that thing, but at the same time, I can send my parents on this super cool experience or like trip and take care of them. And like, I feel like I'm so thankful for this career because one, it made me a better person. Two, it's just like the sense that the people around you know that if God forbid anything happens, you got them. This is my biggest blessing. So,
and that's a great feeling, right?
Yeah.
Would you say before it made you a better person, it showed you your flaws first?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, my impatience, my impulsiveness, my anger issues. Yeah, 100%. Like, I was an angry person. Like, the littlest things would make me angry, and I wasn't like smiling all the time and having fun in life. But then, like, now it's so hard to get on my nerves. It's crazy, and I think it's because my trading.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, like, I get abused on the charts. You're not gonna abuse me in life.
That's
a shirt right there.
I always say that money and success, they don't change you. They make you more of what you always were.
Yeah.
I feel like. So if you were like a horrible person before that, you're going to be an even more horrible person.
True.
I have helped people, and sometimes I wish I didn't. And that is a hard feeling, where I have helped someone. I can tell you, I helped this person become a millionaire, came out of jail, was, from the projects or whatever. And they were like, I'll never tell anyone that I learned from a female. And I was just like,
wow.
Okay, but it was more of just like, I've had a lot of crazy things like that happen so I've helped people and I've seen them become monsters or like just really ugly, and that's not what I stand by. So my traders know that once you make a certain amount of money, we give back every month. So every month we give to a family in need. We have to go give back to our community, our schools, whatever it is. Like, that is really big. I'm really big on giving back. And I don't like to advertise it. I don't put it on the internet or, well, obviously this right now. But other than that, that's it. So, like, I don't like when people get ugly. Like, the money gets to their head.
Fortunately, we can't control that.
I know. But as an educator, it's like, oh, I could have used this good juju on someone else.
Hey, karma's out there. Listen.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't have to lift a finger.
That's true. That's true.
You attract whatever happens to you in this life. You attract.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow, you brought it onto yourself. So you do good out there. You give yourself. That's why, as a mentor, we have a responsibility. We care about our students because we know if we genuinely care for them, good things are going to continue happening for us. But if you're gatekeeping and you're purposely doing this and doing that to them, your success ain't going to last. Because your students and the people that you inspire are an extension of you. So if they're not successful and they're not happy and they're not learning, I have to look at myself and say, what am I doing wrong here? Because these people are depending on me and they're struggling. Why? So yeah, karma's out there.
I think it's funny that he was like, I'm not gonna learn from a female, because I hate the male versus female argument so much. Like,
I was about to bring that up.
Come on, I'm ready to rally.
Like, does the market look at me and be like, oh, she's a female, so I'm not gonna touch her stop loss? No, like, I hate the argument so much. And it's like, if you work hard, you're just gonna make it. It doesn't matter. Don't tell me Like a few weeks ago, someone DM'd me. It was like, girls can't trade. I was like, all right, thank you. This is amazing. Good for you.
And the age thing too. I get people that DM me and they're like, oh, I'm 50. Can I still do it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only limits that you have are the one you place on yourself.
Yep.
Period.
Yes.
I was going to ask her, well, my plan was not to go into any sort of female trader angle because very
Why
similar.
not?
Oh,
That's
it's
why we're
okay.
here. We're
Yeah.
gonna shed some light.
No, what I meant, this is what I was going to say, basically. It was more so I didn't want to, like, take the roundtable where you're giving so much value to the community and your trading experience, etc., and then turn it into this. Just
I
this
appreciate that.
This
I
one
have to
title,
say,
right?
I asked him actually. I was like, "What is the topic? Is it females in trading?" I was like, "No, of course not." I was like, "Okay." Yeah.
Felt like I was about to get attacked. But no, the reason why was because of that. Because just as Nehal said there, that no, the market doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
And you have more value to give than, like, I don't do it to the guys. I don't go like, as a guy trader, how does it make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But equally, as you brought up there, someone said that to you, where
They
it's like
did.
they don't want to teach. And when I've had other female guests on, even when it was a female, she used to own a prop firm, and people would be like, "Of course it failed. She's a woman." And I just didn't understand the mentality that's out there and these thoughts. But you know, one thing I was going to ask you, especially the ones who have education, for example, is like, do you see any differences in your audience, your students? Are they mainly female? Or is it
They
just a wide
used
range?
to be. So they used to be women until like everyone saw that they were winning, and then people were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just showing them what I do." You know, like what else? And it took actually it took a pretty well-known guy like with a big social media presence took my training, and his trading, like, he started making. He actually was one of my. I have only like 4 7-figure traders. He was one of my 7-figure traders, and
Wow.
people saw. Yeah, like, he's amazing.
Casually.
But he, shout out to Khalid. Khalid just gave me the utmost respect and was always, like, he always would tell people, I learned from her. So when he opened that door, and people were like, I want to do what he's doing, and he's like, go to Jess. I'm not going to try to teach you, like, go to her. It made it okay for men to come to me. Now, I think I have more male students. I have some women, and they're amazing, but I do have a lot more male students now. And there's a respecting, I think, because I don't play. Like, I do not play. So it's always, and I don't ask them to do this, but all right, Miss Jessica, all right, Coach Jess, all right, Coach. There's a respect there between us. And they know I'm about my business. My job is to get you where you need to go. You're either here with me and we're doing it, or you can get out and stop wasting my time, because my time is money. And I make it very clear. So the men that come to me, they have a goal. Like, they're trying to they got things that they need to do. They need someone that's going to get straight to the point, and there's no lollygag. Like, we don't do any of that. So it's taken years, but thanks to Khalid opening that door for me, I would say. The first male that openly was like, I learned from her. She taught me this. And then ever since then, it's been great. I have kids too. Like, kid traders, not like me having kids. But like, yeah. So I have, I will help anyone, but I don't have that whole he versus she thing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I think I've got probably more men students than I do women students. And I think I never had a point where I had mostly women. And I think that's maybe because, and this is something that I struggle with even like recently, is I wonder, like, I've got leverage to where I have a following to where I can, bring more women into this. And then it makes me wonder, like, do I need to change my, like, content to be more like girly pop friendly, you know what I'm saying, to make it less intimidating? And I feel like I've always gone back and forth with that, and I think if I did, it just wouldn't be genuine. It's not, I'm trying to be just like you, essentially, like, just to the facts.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to curate it in a way, like, yes, I want to make it understandable and tangible, but I just don't know if that was just something I always wondered. I was like, do I need to change the way that I present myself to be more appealing to the female audience? And I think maybe if I had done that, I would have brought more women in.
I think you
think
are.
So?
Yes, absolutely. I I don't think you give yourself enough credit. So
Yeah.
I think that you are very appealing to a female audience. I think that you portray yourself, and the information that you give is very simple, straight to the point. I mean, I could sit here and say a lot of great things about you because I am a fan of you. Like I respect what you're doing for the game. So I think women, if anything, are maybe intimidated. I think that could be it, but I feel like you will have one student that is going to give you the testimonial that you need, and that's going to open the floodgates for other women to come.
Yeah, true.
So I feel like just keep being yourself. Like like you're purple, even like you're purple. It makes a female feel, welcome to your page. So I don't think that you need to.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I'd say mostly men though for the students.
For me, I actually am not sure. I never really took a deep dive into that to see. I would say I had more female, I think, than male, because the females always reach out and say that, oh, I'm coming to you because you're a female. So a lot of the time I feel like I have more females, but I'm like you also. I'm more like hammer to the table. Like I don't play. If I say, hey, this is what it is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to whisper sweet nothings in your ear and say, yeah, it's okay. No, I'll tell you what it is. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult for me to be a mentor. I'll be super vulnerable with you guys now. It's very difficult because I used to watch Raja's live streams. And Raja would be on there and like, you idiot, what are you doing?
I remember those days, yeah.
And if I used to trade live on YouTube, and I would say, people would ask me the most ridiculous questions, and I'd be like, bro, why are you asking me that dumb question? And they're like, you just call that man dumb, what's wrong with you, that's so mean. And I'm like, wait a minute. Raja just called him a stupid idiot 5 minutes ago. No one said anything. But because you're female, they expect you to be tender and coy all the time and whisper and hold their hand.
I'm not the one.
And it's like, this is trading. This is money. This is business. This is time. I am not your mother. It's not my job to coddle you here. I'm telling you, if I tell you something, it's because it's what it is, and that's what you need to do. It's not because I want to be mean or I want to belittle you or make you feel, insecure in what you're doing. So I feel like it's difficult for women because they expect us to be a certain type of way, just like you feel like, oh, I have to change how I am to appeal to them because they're not gravitating towards me enough, when you might not be doing anything wrong. It's really them. It's that person. If they feel some type of way about you as a person, it's an insecurity they have within themselves that they haven't dealt with yet, a burden they haven't, you know what I'm saying? So they kind of make us feel like we're doing something wrong, that gaslighting where it's like, did I really say this wrong? And you're making me question, what am I doing to make you so mad? When in reality, you're coming to me for the knowledge. So it's not easy. It's not easy. It's very mentally draining. Even though you say you're not competing with the guys, they're making you feel as if you are, because they're constantly reminding you of that. I've had people, and I'll let you go after this, take my trades that I've either helped them with or given to them and tag a male trader and say, thank you to that person.
That has happened to me so many times.
And I'm like, wow, thank you. I'm not going to say names, but thank you to this trader. Thank you to that. And I'm like, you can't even say anything because it's like, you know what? We know what's really up. You know what's up. So you kind of have to take it on the chin and just say, you know what? If I help someone today, I did my job.
But I kind of don't get it. It's like an ego thing. Like, oh, I don't learn from a female or a girl. Like, no, she can't be better than me. Is it like an ego thing? Because I don't get it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to learn from male, female.
Like,
I don't care. Like,
If you help me make money, I'll win from you.
One thing I was just thinking just then is, because they say things like I said, those comments I've seen before. It's like, oh, she's a girl, she can't earn them. But, of course that business is going to fail, for example.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking right then, like, more than likely, where it could stem from, ego being one, but also how many guys have an example of a successful woman? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I've had it. My mum was
Yeah.
super successful, and an incredible person. So I've always had that example. And it does come down to upbringing as well, but maybe that's what it is. Because just as simple as, the limiting belief that people might have because they don't have that example of themselves, so whether it's the image or the gender, whatever. Maybe that's where it stems from. They can't see it being possible because they've never seen it.
Yeah, I'll say it on Twitter too. I'm like, don't put your trauma on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm like, Twitter, me on the internet and me in person are two different people. Like in the trading world, I feel like I have no other choice but to have like all my armor on, because it's constant attack, and it's like, you know what? If you actually just listen to the value that I provided, it could probably help you, but it doesn't feel like, especially Twitter. Twitter is crazy. Oh my gosh, it's just.
If you're a new
I feel like
trader,
I always have to be like defensive.
Yeah, don't go on Twitter if you're a new trader. Thank you.
It is
If you
not
get anything out of that.
It's not.
They really don't think females can trade.
It's. I got advice from a friend of mine, a good friend of mine who trades, and he said the reason why most guys can't look up to a female trader who trade is because they can't see themselves in that woman. They can see themselves in another man who's doing something.
That's
great,
a valid point.
But it's hard. So they might not, like, they're not going to down the woman because of it, but they gravitate more towards the other guy because I want to be that guy. I want to be like him because I'm a guy.
You know what's hard though too? Women, for some reason, it's really hard for some women to ask other women to help them. Like, I have to make sure I go above and beyond to be welcoming to women, because they're like, I was so afraid, I didn't want it to get catty. And I'm like, catty? Like, what? Yeah. No, like, this is a learning environment. You can sit here and ask questions pertaining to trading. So women also get very like nervous and scared sometimes, especially like I have a really strong personality, so I understand that, but I'm a coach. I have to learn how to be a chameleon and adapt to different personalities. And I teach in 80 countries. So there's different cultures that I'm dealing with. So I have to, like, I've learned to just kind of like, you know, simmer down a little bit and you'd be like, okay, what was that, or whatever. But women too, they have a hard time sometimes asking for help. So,
I think what it boils down to is what we said. It's like the data, focus on the data, the results, focus on what actually, the skill set more than anything else. And I think things, from when I started trading, things have drastically changed. Like there's all of you here, let alone obviously there's a lot more coming. And those changes are great, you know. And I think representation is representation and example is such an important thing. Mm-hmm. You know, so like this table, someone made a joke when I did the roundtable with Q and Raul and these guys. It was like, they said South American, a black guy, a Chinese guy.
It was diverse. I saw that too.
Yeah, the white guy going to bar.
I liked it. I watched it yesterday. It was.
And we've done it again.
We're very diverse today.
Which is incredible. But it's so important. It really is, because I think there's a huge power in when you see someone who looks like you or seems like you or similar background or age, whatever it is, because it's an example now. Now you have no excuse, or less of excuses, because it's like, well, they did it. And that's why I feel like podcasts are so great. And then the new thing that we're doing with this documentary thing is like, when you know that person's story, then you hear them in terms of like, oh, actually they went through this, they went through that, they struggled with this outside of trade. Yeah, and then now look at where they are. Look at the life they live, or how their mindset has changed, or how their mindset is. It makes a huge difference. And that's why I love doing these things, especially roundtables. I always love them because you all interact with each other. I don't really have to do much, to be fair, which is great. But you all interact with each other, and through that, you're sharing your own journey and your own perspectives, and everyone else then learns so much as well.
Yeah. Relatability. Is that a word? Because I just made it a word.
I do that all the time. That's my thing. I make up words all the time. My wife always calls me out on it. She exposes me. It's terrible. What I was going to ask actually, which was interesting, is risk to reward. Is that something that you focus on as part of your strategy? Is that something that is you have like a minimum benchmark? I know you mentioned, I think 1 to 3.
1 to 3 is. I mean, there occasionally 1 to 2. That, you know, just sometimes that's what it is. That is statistically the highest probability setup is a 1 to 2, but I can do 1 to 3, and I'm good.
Tori?
This is a interesting one for me. I think it's funny because I'm pretty sure like Umar preaches RR, and obviously I'm going to take whatever he says and be like, whatever you say, yep, because you've got the results to back it up. And maybe that's why I'm only where I'm at and he is where he is. But with that being said, I don't even trade with RR. And like, I'm gonna be honest, my uncle never even taught me what that is. And like, when I get into a trade, I'm trying to stay in for the entirety. So the take profit is not like I don't know what it's going to be. Like I got to get in that trade and see how long we're trending for. And maybe that's a hard concept to grasp. Maybe that's why,
I don't judge.
It's just, it's an interesting concept.
I think everyone has their, that could probably lead to the next question. I think everyone has their own strategy, and if it works for you, then it works for you.
But I've definitely gone through some mega insecurities, like comparing my strategy to others and what I know about trading compared to others. And I'm like, being in the position that I'm in, I did have to do the research just to have like an intelligent conversation, just to be like, okay, I have to overcompensate so that I can get you guys to understand that this is why my strategy works, so that I can go all the way around in circles with you guys to bring it back down to, okay, I'm just trying to stay in for the entirety of the trend. So the reward part, I'm trying to figure it out as I'm in the trade. So if maybe, this new trend that I'm in on, it only lasts a week, or maybe it only gives me, 15K. Yeah. Then that is what it is. But maybe, the next time I get into my trade, maybe it's a 50K trade. And it's very dynamic. So RR is not a factor in my strategy.
Basically, it depends on the setup. Pretty much, which is, that's how I trade. It depends on the setup. Some people will say, well, your stop loss shouldn't be bigger than your take profit. Well, yeah, in theory, you don't want it to be bigger than your take profit. However, if the setup calls for that, then how much risk are you willing to risk on that trade? So with me, it's 1-to-1, 1-to-2, max 1-to-3. Rarely do I hold to 1-to-3, 1-to-1, 1-to-2, and I'm in and out. My trades usually are based on the volatility of the market because I'm scalping. So I'm in and out my trades within minutes, within 10, 15, max 30 minutes. That's about as long as I can take before I start having hard conversations about my trade. Because I use a relatively large lot size. So I don't like the crazy drawdowns and all that. So it depends on the setup and everything. So it's not a one size fits all for everybody. So
I have to agree. And there was a period in my trading where I was like chasing a specific number every single trade. Yeah. And it was so taxing, mentally taxing, because you can't do that. Nothing about this game is about certainties. So it really depends on the setup, what kind of momentum you have on that day. Like, do you have news that are going to push the market? Are we just consolidating and you really should be happy with like the small crumbs? Yes. Just be happy with whatever the market gives you. At the end of the day, we don't move the market with our little positions, Yeah, so like if you're able to make money with the big boys, you're good. No, it doesn't matter. If it's $5, eventually it's going to be more. So just be happy with what you get. Yeah.
What about targets? Like, how are you going about setting your targets?
In terms of?
Like TPs, how are you doing that in terms of, is it like structure, liquidity points based on a specific RR?
Yes.
Dollar amount?
No, so the way I enter my trades, I enter based on key levels. So I target key level to key level. So if I'm entering US30 at 39K flat, I want to take my full TP at like 39,250, for example. Yeah, and then I wait for structure to happen around that key level, and then I push from key level to key level. US30 is notorious though for almost visiting the key level and then by 5-10 points. So watch your trades. Yeah.
I trade a combination of support and resistance, supply and demand, and on occasion on my fib levels, mostly. So with my TPs, honestly, I'm just trying to make money for the day. So if I'm happy with the number, I'm getting out. That's it. And it's that simple. That simple.
I mean, yours is similar.
What? Strategy?
TPs.
Oh, TPs.
You checked out, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry. We were talking TPs. I was gone.
It happens to me.
I was like, nope, don't know. So essentially, as price kind of progresses and populates and works in my favor, my TP and stop loss kind of become one and the same. So it will either be moved into profit, but the TP, like I said, guys, I don't know where it's at. Yeah. So it will trail along my trend line. So like I was mentioning before, if maybe we were in this new trend for a week and I'm able to capitalize on 15K. I didn't know that 15K was going to be my take profit, but I did know that wherever, as soon as price broke the trend line that it was following along, then I know, okay, all right, we're out of the trade. That was the take profit.
It's essentially strategy.
Yeah,
that's it.
We're just trying to ride each trend, and sometimes the trend will last longer. It will give me more. Sometimes it's a fake out. Sometimes it's a short-lived trend, and I'm only able to capitalize on a small amount. But it will always go on the other side of the trend line.
Makes sense. Stock options, they're gonna probably say she's lying, but I'm not. I have to make 100% return on my trades. I usually make 100% return on my trades. So for my contract, if not, it's 50% or more. But typically, it's like I want 100% return.
Can I ask something, just as a dummy myself? When it comes to the stock options, I hear that a lot, like 100% return, etc. When I hear it, I go like, oh, if they put 10 grand on it, they're making 10 grand. I don't understand the percentage.
Well, it's per contract. So for example, if I'm buying an SPX contract and I pay $700, let's just say I pay $700 for the contract, I'm looking to make $700 on that contract. I am not risking the entire $700. So for me personally, my drawdown is usually like $50, but I will have $150 risk on the contract. So I will be comfortable losing $150, sometimes less on the contract, but I know my drawdown, like it's only $50, and I'm looking for 100%. So for my stock option traders, I will have my premium chart up and I will notate my 50% and my 100% gain. And I will use my premium chart market structure to identify how the market's going to react on there. So a lot of people just use their premium chart to use, like, it's called active trader, where you can get in and out. I utilize the structure on there because I've noticed that if it's approaching an area that has stopped several times on the premium chart, it's going to do the same thing right there on that premium chart. So I can decide if I want to exit that position or take some contracts off. I'll usually shave off some contracts and then I will ride the rest in hopes I'll get 100%. But I do utilize structure for my premium chart and my regular chart. Forex, different, but stock options, that's what I do.
Okay. And based on what you've said so far, a few things that you said is like data is a big thing for you. Like knowing the data then gives you essentially confidence in your strategy to then know, okay, this is what the relative drawdown will look like, wins look like, average trades, etc. How are you collecting that data? You do journaling? What sort of process?
I did. I actually just made a video on this, which I tell you, I put out content people don't even realize. So there is an indicator that I use that basically breaks down each session. And first, I just look for volatility. Where's the most movement? It's kind of like dating or being in a dating pool or whatever, like fast dating. I want to see where the movement's at. Okay, bam, I see it's all New York session and London session. I sleep during London. So the only way I'm going to get into a London session trade is if I'm using fib and limit orders. That's it. If it's while I'm awake, then what I do is I go back to each session. I'll check to see what structure was there. I'll check to see what time my entry method, like where that presented itself, and I'll write it down for each day. And I will find a pattern. And I know, like, for example, like NAS, right? Literally, we know from 9:15 to 9:45 it'll give a setup. It'll come back around the 10 o'clock hour to 11 o'clock, bam. I know SPX, if I trade SPX, 11 o'clock to 11:45. Everyone likes to trade the open, which is great volume, but if you're new, most new people can't handle that volatility. So the 11 o'clock hour, you can be at your screen at 10:30, but I know 11 a.m. to 11:45, there's a pullback and I'll get a continuation. 1:30, another opportunity, 3 o'clock, another opportunity. So that's all for me dissecting each day and just looking at my entry setup, like, and okay, bam, bam, and I saw, oh wow, I can get into a trade at 9:45, 11 this, 1:30, 3 o'clock. Those are my setups. I know Mondays are not good days. I know Tuesdays is consolidation. I know Wednesday through Friday are my great days. That's my trade setup. If I miss something on Monday, I miss it on Monday. But it's literally going back and just doing that. That's it. And I'm a nerd, so like, you know, like I've journaled, yes. I have, like, I think TradeZella is amazing. But for me, I do the emotional aspect of journaling. I think that's more important. Like, a lot of people don't focus on emotions. And I want to know, like, was my heart racing during this trade, or did I feel good about it? And I realized every time I got into a trade and the 9:30 to 10 o'clock, it did not work in my favor. It did not work because I needed to scalp. I needed to go on a 2-minute. If I would have done it on a 2-minute, the trade would work out for me. I don't want to do that. That does not work with the way I trade. So I had to find what worked for me. So yeah.
That's
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. As far as data and journaling goes, I do use TradeZella, and it's the coolest. It's cool to be able to nerd out and look at all your stats. I love it. And it's cool to be able to use it as a tool to, like, showcase your strategy. Be like, okay, so this is how much, you know, this is my win percentage for this year, or this is my average hold time, or this is my this and that and this and that. So it's way cool to showcase, have that information. I think it's much more useful for new traders who are trying to figure out, you know, strategy that's working for them, being able to back up the results, give them confidence. Maybe they're looking to go live and they need to have the data behind it to have that confidence to go live. I think that's an excellent source.
Yeah.
So I use TradeZella also. It's awesome. You have to journal. I don't see how people don't journal, because how do you know really how you're doing if you're not taking note of how you're doing? So no, I'm a big proponent of journaling. What was the second part of the question?
In terms of having confidence as well, based off that data.
Yeah. Yes. So because I'm a scalper and I trade US30, it's so predictable. Does the same exact thing just about every day. It's easy to analyze for me. So because it's so easy to analyze, I don't even think sometimes about it. It's just if the setup does this, and this, I'm doing this, and this. It's almost robotic, almost. So there's no need to really don't know about this. Well, if I don't see all of my confluences come together and give me what I need to enter, I just don't enter. So I think just the confidence comes with the knowledge, mostly. If you have the knowledge, the confidence it's out the window, because if it does this and this, then do that. You know, I plan out my trades before I ever enter them, as we all do. We should. So it's like, see the trade playing out already, so that when you see those things happening, it's not hard for you to hit the button because you already planned it to happen that way. So if you see everything you planned on happening, you shouldn't be afraid to take the trade. And if you are afraid, you're not confident in your knowledge.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I always think like back test and journal until you can spot your trade from like a mile away. Until you see the trade forming, you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to risk, how I'm going to handle this trade. Journaling is so important. Like, think about trading as your business, and all businesses fail. Okay, how am I not gonna fail? I'm gonna track my progress. Because if I'm not tracking my progress and I don't see how I'm doing, goodbye. You're like, what's the stat? 99% of traders fail? I understand why.
Yeah. You always have like the greatest analogies, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, I'm like, man, I need to write this down.
One question, it's a bit of a different type of question, but like, what do you do with your profits? Like, are you investing them, saving them, spending them, trading them again?
Yeah.
You know?
All the above. All the above.
So with my profits, I built a personal account. I invest in things outside of trading that bring me money without working, because trading is so hard and I don't think I can rely on one source of income. What if like I'm sick and I can't make it to the charts? How am I gonna fund myself, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think it's so important, so important. When you make trading profits, enjoy your life, spend money on yourself and all that. Think long term. Okay, like, how many entrepreneurs and like even athletes you've heard the stories of that made money and then like within a few years they're nobodies, they're homeless on the street. So how are you ensuring that your success is long term, not short term? You need to invest. Is investing uncomfortable? Yes, it is, but this is the only way to build. Not the only way, because I'm sure there's other ways out there, but like it's a really important way to build that wealth. Like, because when you also trade and you have the confidence that no matter what, like I'm good, like the expenses are taken off, you're coming to the charts not forcing something, or a loss isn't hitting you so hard, because now you're like, okay, I'm in the hole. It's going to take me a week or two to get out of it. What am I going to do? Let me watch the Asian session, London session. Don't do it. Please, don't do it. And I'm speaking from experience. Yeah. So it's so important. Invest your money until you can be super comfortable, and that money can just like fund your lifestyle, take care of your family and all that. Don't spend it all.
Yeah. You said it all right there.
No.
You said it all right there. And a lot of traders don't factor in taxes.
Oh yeah.
We get smacked around with taxes. So in the beginning, I wasn't thinking about that. Most traders aren't, because you're not making that much anyway. But when you start hitting that, I always tell people, when you start making more trading than you do in your day job, now you got to start taking it seriously, because now it's going to start counting. Now Uncle Sam is watching, like, what are you doing now? You know, so now it matters. So you want to, I'm a big proponent for saving. Investing is important too, but saving gives you that extra cushion where, like you said, that if you take a loss or a couple losses, it doesn't hit you as hard, because I know I got this little nest egg over here. Just if anything, the world comes to an end tomorrow, I have something here. You know, we get hit with another pandemic, I'll be all right because I have this, you know? So yeah, I'm big on saving and investing, obviously, but learn in what you're investing first. Yeah. Don't just take money and say, well, I just made $5K today. Let me take the whole $5K and dump it in here. Diversify. Diversify, diversify, diversify. Put your money in different places. I always tell people, use different brokers. Don't put all your money in one place, because if something happens, what are you going to do?
In there.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So diversification is everything with trading. Saving and diversifying.
And I just want to say one thing, last thing. She's so true about know what you're investing in. Last week, the amount of people that I saw putting money in AMC because Roaring Kitties and AMC, like, guys, please do your analysis first. Please don't lose your money. So just do research, please.
So just 600,000 people on his YouTube stream.
Wow.
Price went down.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're watching.
Yeah.
For me, I think the first thing is I want to touch a little bit on like the taxes and the diversifying and like the saving. And when I started making more from trading than any of my other sources of income, I read this book called Profit First. Mm-hmm. And it was the greatest thing I've ever done. It's essentially it's this method, the Profit First method, where every dollar that you make, and there's many different books that talk about this kind of same concept, but every dollar you make gets divvied. And Kevin Hart did an amazing panel on it. He was just talking about you never will ever make 100% of your income. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and take half of that off the table. But as far as the Profit First method goes, 30% of every single dollar I make goes into my tax savings account. 30% point blank period every single dollar that comes in. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I never have to worry about. And then 5% goes to my profit play money. That is if I want to buy some shoes, if I want to get a nice watch, if I want to take my family on vacation, that is play money. That's 5%. And then there is OPEX, which is operating account. So that's going to go back into myself, my business, my trading. That's going to go back and reinvest. And then there is owner's pay, which is me, to pay my expenses, my bills. Mm-hmm. So Profit First method was life-changing. That gave me like a peace of mind. And then now figuring out, okay, now I want to invest. And like, okay, how do I diversify? And it's scary because there is a black hole. It's very similar to trading. There's a black hole of information out there. Like I'm going on, okay, infinite banking, trust, Roth IRAs. I'm like,
high yield savings.
Oh, yes, all of the above. Okay, well, I had to go through the trial and error and the research to figure that out. So now I have a Roth IRA. I have a life insurance policy. I have I've done all of the above, a high yield savings account. You got to know about it first though, because it is scary and it's going to be tough, to do that research, but you got to put the time in to do it. Now I feel confident that my kids' kids are going to be good because of the research and the work that I've put in now to figure out where does this money need to go. So outside of taxes are taken care of. There is a little bit of a tax break when you guys do futures, just just a little, not crazy, but a little bit. And then
I learned that from you. I went and looked it up.
That's why I trade SPX. Like for stock options, I only trade SPX.
And so then figuring out, where's the money going to go? Reinvesting. The trickiest one I'm going through right now is real estate. That's one of the hardest. Like the other ones, you can do enough research to understand the system and how it works. But real estate that'll be, by the end of this year, I'll have invested in something in real estate. Whether that's like a multifamily home, whether that's a home for myself that eventually maybe I'll, rent out. I'm still, it's a tricky one, the real estate world. It's very foreign to me, so I'm still working on that.
I'm going to hold on to that after she goes. That made a good point.
Oh, yeah. And then as far as like what else I do with my profits, it's, treating my family, I think, is the biggest thing. I'm taking my family to Seaside next week, actually. Nice. And I get to take everyone, though. I get to take my sisters, my mom, my brother-in-laws, my nieces, my nephews. It's going to be like the greatest. And I get to do something like that. So
is Seaside a place?
Yeah. It's here in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Seaside back in the UK is a beach.
Yeah. They have one in Jersey too, Seaside Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's very kid-friendly, the one out here in Florida, which was the goal, just to make sure that stress is low, everything's kid-friendly was big. But that's what I like to do with my profits, is family stuff. I'm trying to work more so experiences. I did get to go through the material things, and that was cool, but very unfulfilling. And I know it sounds like you're almost ungrateful, but you got to go through it. Like, I'm incredibly grateful to be able to have gone through that. But now I want to, spend time with the family. But I think just touching on like the profits, reinvesting, but doing the research, making sure taxes are taken care of, do your due diligence.
So reinvesting for me, I actually have several accounts. One where I keep the money in there for a while, so I pay less taxes on it after about a year. Then I will go ahead and reallocate or pay things. So then I have one that I actually take money out on a monthly basis. I am really big in life insurance, so I have a universal policy which matches like the S&P. It gives me the benefits of being able to take a loan out. There's no taxing on it. So I'm really big on several life insurance policies. And if I ever needed to borrow money for real estate or whatever, I can do it from there instead of going to a bank. So I've gone that aspect into it. The 401ks, I used to be big on that, but I feel like for me personally, because I was big on that, the life insurance policies have been more beneficial for the tax breaks. That's why I just started adding more to it. Like, I got it because I was told like that's the right thing to do, and then like I was like, no, show me what I need to do. So I've been doing that. Real estate is something I have to say as well that multifamily housing would be something of interest to me, and because of my background, I would like to work with investors on that. But for right now, that's pretty much it. Taxes, my CPA, she handles all that. I love her. Shout out to her. But my profits, it's family. And I'll be honest, this is very vulnerable. I don't think I treat myself enough because of just the huge change. Like, I was just saying this to my students actually the other day. I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go out. I'm taking a week off. Like, I need to do more for me. I don't feel like I do enough for myself. I take care of everybody else. So I think I'm trying to relearn that, trying to do that. Like, just enjoy life more. Like, I'm so work that life is making me have to like say, hey, no, you can have fun. Like, you worked your tail off for it. So
I can relate. I can only take a vacation after like I completely burned myself out. Like, I'm sorry, I'm bringing out all my toxicity on this.
Like, no, see, I am literally like, I am at a burnt out stage. I think I give so much. My cup is like not full. And I took this week off, and I told my students, I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. And they're like, no, don't be sorry. Like, go, you give so much. Because I'm just like, man, I haven't done anything for me. I haven't gone on vacation in like 2 years.
You're still giving now on your vacation.
Yeah. Right?
This is, to me, this is networking. This is a great opportunity to be amongst amazing traders, female traders, and yourself. I think you're amazing. So this is different, but definitely I'm learning how to treat myself.
You should.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm so caught up in motherhood and doing this and doing that, band practice, and like all, like I'm just
It's a lot. So to go off of what Tori said about the real estate, so here's the double-edged sword I think we all probably deal with trading. We're spoiled, basically, because none of the other businesses that we have invested in bring in the kind of money that we can make on the charts. So it kind of feels like real estate. Real estate is slow money. You have to put a bunch of money out, and then it trickles back in. But with trading, you're gonna get your return like crazy. So it's hard for me. I don't know about you guys. It's hard for me sometimes to be like, that's all I'm gonna make off that, when I could do that in
a trade.
And that's in a week of trading, and in this I have to wait like 5 years to make this kind of return on it.
Yeah.
So I think that can blind us sometimes and be like, you know what? I'm not going to invest in that. I'm just going to keep on trading because I make way more money trading anyway.
Yeah, like I always say trading is not my only source of income, but it's my main source of income because I make the most money trading out of anything else. Yeah. And I love that so much because like you're so in control. It's just you that is in control of how much money you can make, how often. It's really, really good. So, yeah.
I agree.
And I think what helps though is, as like the trader mindset, and for us maybe, is we understand that we can make so much more trading, but then if you think of it like future family wise, I'm like, okay, like I can make so much more in this trade, but what am I going to leave my kids, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
It's not going to be that trade. Like that money could, yes, maybe you could, take that money from the trade and put it in high yield savings, but like to give them tangible like land or a house or 100%. Equity in something, I think that's what helps the mindset. That's what helped me at least, because I had the same idea. I'm like, first of all, it's intimidating. I don't know the first thing about any of it, and the return that you get is pennies compared to what I can do in trading. And then I was like, okay, but wait, if I am trying to set my future family up for success, this is just part of the process. I just got to do it. That's just part of it.
Just get a life insurance policy to cover the mortgage.
Amen.
Just so you know.
Amen.
I just did that. I'm like, okay, that's it. Mortgage handled.
Yes.
Bam.
It's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's the other thing as well. You have to, when we're trading, we're working for our money. We don't want to trade every day after a while. When I'm like 40, 50, 60, well, I'll still be trading in my 40s. But 50, 60, 70, when I'm enjoying my family and things, I don't want to get up every day and have to trade.
2 days a week.
You know what I'm saying?
2 days a week.
So it's like, okay, so wait, I got to think long term. We're not thinking long term when we're thinking I could just make this on the charts. We're thinking short term. Long term is I'm going to buy that life insurance policy. That's the long term play. So I think if I got more into that mindset, I'd be a little bit more open to other opportunities.
I think as I'm aging, I have no other choice.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, oh, I got here so quick, and you have
small kids.
I have kids, so they're taken care of too. Like my kids' college is set, everything's set. I also have a trust where the policy, it disperses money at certain times in their lives. They're not just going to get a lump sum. So like if I'm not around when they're 21, they'll get a sum when they're 21. They're going to get another one at their 25 when they first buy their house. So I have it set up for that so that they don't just blow that money away either. And a lot of people don't know these are things that you can do. I actually have meetings with my team. I bring CPAs, I bring life insurance brokers.
That's great.
I do all of that because I am not the most knowledgeable person. I've taught you a skill that can change your life, but let's take it to another step, because I wish I would have learned stock options before I learned Forex. I wish I would have learned more about the stock market, before I learned Forex. I wish I'd have learned more about future. Like when I think about it, I'm like, man, there were so many other ways that I could have probably made money faster, to be honest. But I try to teach my teams all of that, or at least put it in front of them so they can decide if they want to, make the right decision or not.
And to touch on that, like making sure that you have the right people, like you shouting out your CPA, like absolutely. Like same, because I that's not my field. So knowing the people to hire, like I've got a financial advisor that was helping me with the research. I got a good CPA that big fat tax account that I got, which I don't want to have to use all of it. I don't want to have to actually use 30%.
No, a good
so having
CPA
the right person. Yeah, exactly. So making sure you have the right person, that is knowledgeable in that space. So hiring the right people to help you, I think, is huge too.
Yeah. It's business expenses. So like we said earlier, trading is a business. Factor in all the business expenses. So don't think you can hold on to 100%. Uncle Sam isn't going to be happy, and we don't want to upset Uncle Sam.
Facts.
He's more like an enemy than an uncle. I don't know whether. One thing I wanted to ask actually was like, obviously every trader's journey is very unique, and I would like to ask that what was one, I'm sure there'll be many, but let's just say the one that sticks out to you as the one thing that when you focused on it and like improved it really changed your trajectory of your journey, that you really saw a dramatic improvement. And it could be fundamentals, it could be risk management, it could be whatever it may be. And I'll start with you, Jess.
Implementing limit orders. So for me, when it was with Forex, it was so GA was that's my moneymaker. Like that was where I made my first 6 figures. That was like GA was what I traded. And it was London session, but I never stayed awake during London session, where you know how like everybody was told you got to stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I got kids, that's not happening, but I need to make this money. Once I realized I love Fibonacci. So Fibonacci is I love it. But once I found that I could set limit orders and go to sleep and wake up either in profit or not, that was it for me. Because I didn't sit there and watch candles. I wasn't going through the emotions that most people go through. So that is how I made my first 6 figures, was implementing that. And I wish I could get back to it, to be honest, now, because when you're teaching, it's different, but limit orders changed my life.
Interesting. I think mine wasn't necessarily a thing. Since my strategy is so easy, there's not a whole lot to it. I think mine was an experience, and it was when I held like one of my first biggest losses. And then I just held, and there was no stop loss. And I think that realizing when I came out of that, it came back to me. But realizing that I was incredibly lucky, because that does not happen to everyone. Like, that's usually a moment where traders blow accounts and they lose everything. Yeah. And I was put in a situation where I should have. To be honest, I was so hard on myself. I was like, you should have blown your account. You should have gone to zero, because what you did was so stupid. And so really reflecting on that situation and being like, okay, that can't happen ever again. That can't happen again. The mindset you were in, the hope that you had in that trade, I could have let that thing go. Like, what a bummer. Like, so it was an experience knowing that, wow, somebody was looking out for me, like, because that experience changed everything. Then the losses, I was grateful to take losses after that. I was like, by all means, take this loss instead of the one that I was in before. Yeah. So I was like, it was a huge mindset shift, was to be in a position where I could have lost it all, and I didn't. And Thankfully. Price came back to me, and that was by the grace of God. And otherwise, like, I just don't think, I think that mindset, knowing that, wow, I got lucky, we can't do that again, that was a one-time thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was just more of an experience that changed it.
Fair enough.
Just out of curiosity, did it hit your full TP, or did you get out of break-even?
So there was no TP, there was no stop loss. It was, well, the stop loss was that was removed because of this guy right here. Yeah. But no, it was a very interesting trade. I think it was gold. So it was. Wow. I took a short position in gold, I took a long position. It was a long position in gold, and I was down, I'm talking like 2K or 3K within like the first day or two. Oof. And then we're down, I think it was 6 at one point, and then I texted my sister and I said, I give up. Like, I texted her a screenshot of my loss, and I said, I'm probably going to lose all my money today. I give up. Like, I give up on trading. And I know that feeling. Oh my God, it was tough. Yeah. I still had to have a conversation with family members every day. I had to pretend like everything's fine. Yeah. No, the house is burning, actually. Like, inside I was dying. And then it ended up coming back to break even. Mm-hmm. And even in that situation, you would think, oh, get out. No. I was like, okay, now we can make money. Now we just, oh my God, it was like the things that I went through in that one specific trade was pivotal in my entire trading career.
It
like
had
mentally.
To happen.
It had to, though.
Yeah.
But then, so I got back to break even thinking, okay, we're going to make money. It went back down $1,000. I was like, okay, I can't handle it anymore. And then like closed it and it was done. But that experience, that trade was pivotal.
I think we all as traders need to have moments like those to bring things into perspective for us. But for me, what changed it for me was simply candlestick analysis.
I love price action.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that did it for me. Because I know that if I'm looking at a 1 hour candle, if I can analyze that candle, I'm only trying to get this much of it because I'm scalping, right? I don't need the whole 1 hour. I just need a little bit of it. So if I can analyze and break this down and put it together with structure, and that's all I need. So I eliminated indicators. I recently started back using like fibs. I mostly use it on gold. When I was trading gold, I used fibs a lot. But now I'm so good at fibs, I just eyeball it. I don't even need to use the fib. I love that. I just eyeball it. So yeah, candlestick analysis. That's it for me.
I also think price action is king. Price action is amazing. But what really changed things for me was position sizing. I was right, but then I was sizing too big, so I'm not holding my trade. I am uncomfortable. Like, the minute it goes a few points against me, I'm like, okay, let me just close. What happens? It goes in my favor. What do? I enter again because of FOMO. So it was like this endless loop of me trying to size too big. You know when you like have a really old car and I want it to go 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds, it's just not gonna work like that. My brain wasn't programmed.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Analogy queen. I'm
For analogies, contact me. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So position sizing, like learning how to take it one step at a time. That's what really helped me.
Very good.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Let me think. Should we finish with I'm trying to think of a fun one. I never can. Who's the worst trader you know? No, I'm joking.
Oh, he wants to get wild like that.
Oh, we can get wild. I mean, I could come up with a topic that's a little...
Well, you go. We'll let you sign up. Well, you put this together.
Okay, this will be the last one, and this is something that it's just that I'm struggling with recently. And maybe it's controversial, or maybe it's... I'd be fascinated to hear you guys' opinion. But I'm at a point where I'm comparing myself to these other guys in the industry. They're making stupid amounts of freaking money.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, this could be far-fetched, or maybe we'll see. But I'm wondering, is it like the literal chemical makeup of being a female that makes we don't have like this risk it all, like this, if it's male ego, is it like, what drives a man to go like as hard as these guys are going? Like, I feel like it's at all costs. Whereas, do I not have that mindset? Am I not like going at trading or at this business? Like, why don't I have a Bugatti? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing wrong? It just makes me wonder, like, what is the chemical makeup that we are going through that it's like, is it something that's limiting us? Is it because we have like this maternal instinct where we're like, we have to stay calculated, we have to stay, fair?
We don't have as much testosterone.
I think this would be a good male versus female roundtable question, to be honest.
It makes me wonder.
They're over there, so we bring them over.
I think men are providers. Like, men are providers. Like, that's what that is like you said, we're nurturing. Yeah. They have to provide. And another thing you said, men feel there's a validation there when they have a home that they purchase, a car that they purchase. If it's a nice one, great. Yeah, it makes them feel good to look at their Bugatti that they worked their behind for. Where a female, that may not be her priority. She may want to decorate her house with the fanciest scan design, art, like just really nice stuff in her house. So I think upbringing is a really important part. Like, I'm from the projects. I don't ever want to go back to the projects. I've been working since I was 12 years old. 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I will do whatever it takes to never be back in that position. And I'm a provider. I have no other choice. Now, I'm a female, yes, but there's nobody else. My kids only have me, so I have no other choice but to work. Now, the car stuff, that doesn't excite me. My kids having their college tuition, that excites me. So I think it's just like, it depends on your upbringing, but men are providers. Like, I think that's what it is.
It's also social media today.
Yeah.
See, I don't pay attention to social media like that.
Yeah, it's because some people place a lot of their self-worth on their social media popularity, because it's like, outside in the real world, who am I? I'm this big celebrity online. I have to keep up this image. I have to keep pushing the boundaries. I have other guys that are in my field doing what I do. I need to be top dog. So I kind of feel like it's constantly I won't say the word, measuring contest with them. And that's what it is. And they're looking at each other like, oh, I have to outdo that guy. I'm not going to tell him, but I'm going to show that I'm going to outdo him and show everybody else I'm the top dog. When in reality, it's about priorities and what really matters. And we can't relate to that because our priorities are different. We're women. We're more estrogen based, not testosterone based. So our priorities are just different. And if you have the confidence in yourself where you don't need that validation from strangers online, you don't need to have 50,000 likes on a picture to feel like I like this picture of me.
Yeah,
true that.
Yeah, that's like people tell me all the time, my students, like, you should have a bigger following. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't really
care for that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Like the right people will find me. You know, that's just how I feel. That's what it is. If it grows, great. I'm thankful. If it doesn't, I'm still the same person.
Exactly.
But
and
yeah.
Not only that, social media is so fake now. I hate to say it's so fake. What you see is not really what it is half of the time. You know, that Bugatti could be rented for all we know. Who knows? It may not be. Who knows? But the point is, people have that drive to keep on pushing the boundaries for themselves, where they might be in so much debt with that car payment, but they're like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And it's like, do you want to be in that position? If I want to be able to sleep at night, I don't want to have to get up in the morning and stress, like, I have to hit this trade because I got that Ferrari payment coming up and I need to make it. Otherwise, I can't show the Ferrari off anymore. That's a different type of stress.
Yeah, and I look at cars differently. So, and some people do too. Like, cars are assets. So I've done reselling of cars, like the Lamborghini Urus, back in 2018, 2019, when the first Red on Red came out. We flipped it. So, you know, it's they're assets if you use them properly and they have the right residual. Yes. So when I look at men with these cars, I'm big into cars and private jets. We have a private jet business. So I know when there's a facade, and I know when they actually can afford the jet. You know, I know I'm not going to see a trader in a Citation 10. I know that, you know, but at the same time, when they're like, I'm looking at a car and I look at the residual. People may like, for example, I have a Lexus, right? My Lexus residual is not going to go down. My Lexus will always bring me equity. I had a Wrangler, a Jeep, like I had $25,000 in equity on it during COVID. I sold it. I got back everything I paid back into it. So when you get exotic cars, you can put yourself in that position where there's equity and you can make money off of it. So sometimes these guys are channeling their money into it so they can do write-offs for leases. So there's a business side of it too that I understand. But I do get what you're saying as well. The business mind in me is going to automatically kick in because I've seen it. I've seen what guys do with that, but I don't know if I can relate to you have a Porsche, right? I think I saw you. I love Porsche Cayenne turbos. Like that is my car.
That was the one.
Like,
I went with the Macan instead.
Yeah, I love the GTS. Like that is.
And we look great in them too.
You know, but like for me personally, is there going to be a residual on it? Am I going to be able to have is it an asset? If it doesn't work for my financial plan, I can't get the car.
Right.
I don't think about I don't put myself in a position where I got to make this many, trades. I can't do that. I cannot do that.
I think the bottom line is social media. That's all. I
agree.
Social media at the end of the day.
We need an analogy from you now.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we got one.
I'm trying to think, but I think I'm hungry now, so my brain's not working. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's been absolutely incredible. Amazing roundtable. And at home, let us know in the comments below your biggest takeaway from this particular roundtable. Maybe we should do a part 2 someday. Definitely. A catch up. Sure. The links for everyone on the table will be in the description below, so make sure you check them all out. There will be past roundtables on screen, day trading show on screen. Make sure you hit subscribe. And signing off, we'll go around everyone again. We have Nehal. Sharline. I apologize.
That's all right.
Tori Trades. Jess, Ramos. And I'm lost. So
all right then. That's all right.
Until next time, take care, everyone.